business. Go mind your business.
All right, so I'll give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. We'll pick the chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me, and you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come by Abba's name, you receive me not. Another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and know that come from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had to believe Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote to me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? All esteem and praise to Abba and Shamaim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. God bless, Brother Smoke. What's good, Yasha, man? Shalom, Brother Smoke. Let's hit this to Proverbs 11:30, man. Get this show on the road. I got to go around here because I ain't got that page in the book. The fruit of the righteous, a tree of life, and he that wins souls is wise. Proverbs 15:4. A wholesome tongue, a tree of life, but perverseness therein, a breach in the ruach. Proverbs 27:17. And whoso keep the fig tree shall eat the fruit thereof, so he that wait on his master shall be honored. Now, we were talking about this here in Colossians. Let's go ahead and grab it. We got some other things to hit. We still need to finish what we was in Leviticus 25. Shalom, Brother Ella. So let's swing back around here to Colossians. Let's do that. Colossians chapter 1. Verse 12. Well, I know just had it in the background, man. Before I swung back around here, I had to hear probably the most horrible understanding of Adam that could probably even be a spouse, boy. It's a sad deal out here, boy. Boy, I'm trying to tell you, boy, these niggas out here trash, boy. Understand you be. Good grief. They say, giving thanks, this is Colossians 1:12, giving thanks unto Abba, which have made us meet to be partakers of the inheritance of the saints in light, who have delivered us from the power of darkness and have translated into the kingdom of his dear Son, whom we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sins, who is the image of the invisible Elohim, the firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created that are in Shamaim and that are in the Arats, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or principalities or power, all things were created by him and for him. He is before all things, and by him all things consist. He is the head of the body, the assembly, who is the beginning, the firstborn from the dead, that in all things he might have the preeminence. For it pleased that in him should all fullness dwell. And having made shalom through the blood of his stake, by him to reconcile all things unto himself, by him, whether in earth or things in heaven. And you that were sometimes alienated and enemies in mind by wicked works, yet now have he reconciled in the body of his flesh through death, to present you kadosh and unblameable and unreprovable in his sight, if you continue in the faith, grounded and settled, and not moved away from the hope of the basar, which you have heard, which was preached to every creature which is under Shamaim, whereof I, Paul, am made a servant. So, a lot of things mentioned, a lot of things to discuss. First and foremost, Revelation chapter 3, verse 14. Shalom, man. Revelation chapter 3, verse 14. And unto the Malachim of the synagogue of the Laodiceans write, these things saith the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of Elohim. Now, of course, you know, on the Clubhouse app, you know, dudes be debating stuff like this about Mashiach's pre-existence and all this other type of stuff, which for me, who cares? And when I say who cares, meaning if you believe he existed in heaven before all things, then that's you. If you don't, then that's you. See, a lot of times, a lot of individuals spend too much time trying to convince somebody to see something the way that they see it. If you don't see it, so what? You know what I'm talking about? I'm not finna keep convincing you of that. You know what I'm talking about? Slow on, Brother Francis, man. You know what I'm talking about? See, I want y'all to look at something. We talked about it the other day, man. I'm gonna go over here to Acts 19 and Acts 18. That's not yours for you to be doing that. Joanne, leave her alone. At that point, that's when you have to click in and realize you're 7 years older. So what would the older sibling should do versus interacting and going back and forth with a baby? That's what I just told you. You should not be having contention with a baby. That means that you would be at the level of a 1-year-old. I know you're not at the level of a 1-year-old, are you? So when you do that, you're mentally going at the level of a 1-year-old, which means in your mind, you're 1 year old when you're actually 7 years older than her. So you should have the critical thinking skills to be able to outsmart a baby and not frustrate yourself. Do you understand? Very well. Peace, Brother Nate. Where am I, man? Acts 19. We read this the other day, right? We're going to read it again. Acts 19, verse 8. Matter of fact, we'll read all three of them. We'll read Acts 28 with it just on general principle. And he went into the synagogue and spake boldly for the space of 3 months, disputing and persuading the things concerning the Malkuth of Elohim. When diverse were hard and believed not, but spake evil of that way before the multitude, he departed from them and separated the disciples, disputing daily in the school of Tyrannus, and continued by the space of 2 years, so that all which dwelt in Asia heard the word of the Lord Yahushua, both Yahudim and Greek. I read that for you to understand one point. Once people go to blaspheming, because some of y'all have experienced this when we done talk to people who don't believe in the Mashiach. Once they go to blaspheming or speaking evil, you're supposed to remove yourself from them. You're not supposed to continually engage to convince them. You know what I'm talking about? You're supposed to leave. That conversation's supposed to end. This is what I mean when you have to sit back and look at, do you have the Ruach of God in you? Or are you doing this on your own volition, thinking you bringing esteem to his name when you really bringing shame because you causing his enemies to blaspheme? Do you recall how James told you a man's religion is vain if he can't bridle his tongue? You don't know when to stop talking. You don't know when to leave stuff alone. That's not godliness, but I'm gonna prove this to this nigga. No, that's carnal. And you operating like a woman because you have to be right. As a man, if you know you're right, why do you care to prove it to him? All right, you don't believe it, so what? Man, look at man. Last Saturday, man, when this dude was like, you can't definitively say Adam is representative of Yahushua dying for the people. I say, you lying to me? I'm definitively telling you this. That's what it is. You can't do that. No, nigga, I just told you I can because I did. See, there has to come a point when if you say you stand on this man's word and you say you just and you say you a man, period, but you have to stand definitively on what it is that you professing, irregardless of what other people gonna say. See, most people won't make a definitive stance because they want to be able to have wiggle room because they really don't know what they're talking about. They're really not confident in what it is that they believe and what they espouse. As a man, you must if you are not definitive about something, then guess what that means you ought not to do? Speak on it. Don't speak on something that you definitively don't know. You know what I'm saying? Y'all have mercy on this old man. My big homie told me that a long time ago. Say you don't speak on things you don't know, because then you're going to come up against somebody who do know it and you're going to embarrass yourself. If you don't know, it's okay to say, I don't know nothing about that. I'm not skilled in that area. I don't have that information. There's not a problem with that. It doesn't make you lesser. That make you a man. You know what I'm saying? Men don't speak on that which they don't know. And unfortunately, the mass amount of Hebrews are talking about things they don't know. Let me show you what it is that they don't know. John 17-24. Let me show you what it is they don't know. John chapter 17, verse 24. I make it 23 on general principle. I and them and you and me, that they may be perfect in one, that the world may know that you have sent me and you have loved them as you have loved me. Abba, I will that they also whom you have given me be with me where I am, that they may behold my esteem which you have given me, for you loved me before the foundation of the world. Now again, there you have this statement where he said that he was loved before the foundation of the world. Now again, we hold a different perspective than a lot of people hold, and we stand on that. And that is that Yahuwah is Yahushua and Yahushua is Yahuwah. If you don't agree with it, that's fine. I'm just not finna go on no knockdown drag out to prove it to you. I'm gonna show you why it is that we believe that. You can accept it or you don't. I don't care. You know what I'm talking about? Some people like, you spreading false doctrine. Call it what you want. You ain't got to listen to it. But see, this is the reason why I say this here. Most brews sit around to have arguments with one another, not for the edification of the body, not for the edification of the nation, for everlasting salvation. They're not doing that. They're not manifesting no information so you can draw closer to your Elohim, that your faith and trust might be in him, that your hope might be in him, that you might love him, that you might serve him, that you might desire and delight yourself in him. That's not what they're doing. These niggas just want to know something. You know how goofy you got to be to just want to talk about something just to feel like you know something? Weirdo. What's wrong with you? Nevertheless, verse 25. O righteous Abba, the world have not known you, but I have known you, and these have known that you have sent me. Now, let me ask y'all this question right here, man. What does the text say is the one thing to show that you don't know Elohim? What does the text say? What does the text say? When he said, righteous Abba, the world have not known you. Okay, and I'll read you. In John 14, remember he said, and I will send you another comforter, the Ruach of truth, which the world could not receive, because it's neither seen him nor known him. What is the one thing that a man can do to cause him to not know Elohim? Brother Sharona said, has Elohim come in the flesh? Indeed, he has. Going once? Going twice? Come on, swing around here and holler at me over here, man, in 1 John chapter 3, if you would. We'll be right here in 1 John chapter 3. We'll read verse 1 on general principle. Behold, what manner of love have Abba bestowed upon us that we should be called the sons of Elohim. Therefore, the world know us not, because it knew him not. Beloved, now we are the sons of Elohim, and it do not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And every man that have this hope in him purify himself, even as he is pure. Whosoever commits sin transgress also the law, for sin is transgression of the law. And you know he was manifested to take away our sins, and in him is no sin. Whosoever abide in him sin not. Whosoever sin have not seen him, neither known him. No, it wasn't John 1:1. It was that 1 John chapter 3. See, when you committing sin, you can't know God. Because remember, what is the word in Hebrew for know? It's yada. It's to know by experience. See, let's take a look at something in Job 34, if I'm not mistaken. Job 34. I'll pick it up at verse 1 because I feel like it. I want to say this here because, again, in a couple of most situations, to add on to a situation, Monte mentioned blasphemy. I didn't even see that because I ain't got these glasses on. That individuals, again, are showing growth and maturity as it pertains to the word. See, a lot of time, man, when you begin to grow and mature, sometimes you don't even realize that you have moved into another level of growth and maturity until you actually get placed in the situation. And then you realize, you know what? 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, I wouldn't have handled this like this, or I wouldn't have viewed this like this. I would have maybe responded like this or responded like that. That is the evidence of growth. You understand? See, praise be to Elohim in the name of Yahushua. That's the purpose of why we identify Mashiach in the text. And then, shalom, Brother Shaul, you know what I'm talking about? And then look at what was actually transpiring and what we're identifying in him in the text, so that your faith can be stronger, understanding can be imparted, and then you can take that information from that seed and store it in your heart. And guess what happens when you take that seed and store it in your heart, and it's stored in a heart that's good ground, or that one that understands, you bear forth the fruit thereof. Shalom, Brother Randall. You understand? Yeah, see, and that's the point of some of y'all who've been around here for years. Some of y'all, you ain't been around here that long, but by the grace of Elohim, you trapped fast to that seed and planted it in your heart, and you were able to manifest said fruit. See, that is from the grace of Elohim through his word, and then from you doing the righteous obedience of faith through the works thereof. That's not nothing that got to do with me. That's the work of Elohim, and you doing the work to actually become like Elohim. You know what I'm saying? See, that's a beautiful thing, because when that occurs, that allows you to know that the doctrine comes from Elohim and not man. Remember what he said in John chapter 7? He said, hey, man, my doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. If any man do his will, he'll know who the doctrine comes from. You know what I'm talking about? Matter of fact, let me grab that while I'm holding that so you can see that there. See, and I'm saying that for us to give esteem to Elohim, because then you know that that was his word, because the outcome that the words say a man or woman should have, it's being produced in your inward man. You understand what I'm saying? So when you turn over here to John chapter 7, right, verse 16, he said, Yahushua answered him and said, my doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. If any man do his will, he shall know of the doctrine, whether it be of Elohim or I speak of myself. Shalom, Brother Marvin. So this is how the point is, if the doctrine be of Elohim and you take that seed and you store it in your heart, and then it begin to produce what Elohim said the word should produce, then you know that's a word from Elohim, and you should continue on that track to perfection. You understand what I'm telling you? So that you can get to the place that it is that you say you want to be, which is the paradise of Elohim, which is New Jerusalem, which come down from Shamahim, that you may dwell eternity with your Elohim. You understand what I'm talking about? See, everybody, that's not their desire with this. Everybody don't desire that. It's a lot of people, they desire other things. A lot of people don't desire eternity. Man, I told you, I was talking to Cuz last night. I think I told y'all this Wednesday. Dudes come with gimmicks and games because they ain't got no word. Because they ain't got no word. When you got a word, you don't care what other people preaching. Because you're going to preach what he gave you for the edification of the people. You don't care you don't care about proving somebody else's doctrine wrong. The only thing you want to prove wrong is that it's not just before God to sin. It's not just before God to have unbelief. You don't care about that. You don't care about none of that. I told Cuz last night what I told you before. Well, if you've been in that word 5-6 years, man, and you still the same nigga you playing, this ain't what you want to do. Now, it's different if you're getting bad information. But how can people say they love God and you read the word and you study the word day in and day out and week in and week out and month in and month out and year in and year out, and you still the same wicked nigga you were before you started? How you been in the word 5 years, you still struggling watching porn? Nigga, what you got going on? How you been in the word 5 years and you still doubting? How you been in the word 10 years, you still beating your meat? How you been in the word 13 years, you still telling lies? What are you doing? But guess what? When it comes time to do something on a natural level, you can find all the discipline, energy, and desire to get that accomplished. But when it comes to like I told them boy that morning, man, we don't talk about sin and the reality of what sin is. Because he says, sin bring forth death. Err not, my beloved brethren. You can't look at sin like everybody's sin. Sin is death. You need to look at sin like you finna inject fentanyl in your veins, man. You need to look at sin like you playing Russian roulette with an AK-47. You know what I'm talking about? You need to look at sin like you around here playing on a bridge, standing on the side, and you finna fall off. That's death you playing with. When you playing with sin, you playing with death. There is no way around that. You can't get life out of sin. See, you don't really respect the power of what it is you fooling with. What do you want? Daddy. Hey, baby. You know what I'm talking about? You got to think about that, man. We don't think about that. And that's what makes it easy for us to sin. Because you don't believe that that's death. You don't believe that that's death. The only time we believe is death and when it's people outside the house or people you don't like. But nevertheless, Job 33, verse 1. Furthermore, Elihu answered and said, hear my words, O you wise, and give ear unto me, you that have knowledge. For the ear try words as the mouth tastes meat. Remember, we done talked about this before. That's that 1 John chapter 4. You know what I'm saying? Try every screw out. See, that man say the ear try words like the mouth tastes meat. That's why he say he that have ears, let him hear. That's why he say my sheep hear my voice and they follow me. That's why I always tell you, you're supposed to listen to the voice of the shepherd. Ask yourself this question, man. You think the shepherd would dwell in a wicked man? You think the shepherd would dwell in an uncompassionate man? You think the shepherd would dwell in a man who don't care for the sheep? These niggas don't care about us. And we still sit there and listen to them. Why you listening to people who don't give a damn about you? Because they don't give a damn about themselves. If a nigga teaching you don't care about sinning, that means he don't care about his own soul. So you know he don't care about yours. Man, we had to get to the point, man, where we strip all this extra stuff away, man, and realize that it's just like what your law told you, that this is life or death, and choose life. And you can't choose life playing with sin, man. You can't choose life making excuses for sin. We have to stop making excuses for it. You know what I'm talking about? We make excuses for doing what God say not to do. And think it's a noble thing to say, I know the word say this, and I taught by the word, and I done went contrary to the word, but I repented, so listen to me. No, I ain't listening to you, nigga, because you should have listened to him before you did that goofy behind jump. I'm not listening to you. Why you ain't teach yourself? Don't you know this man said that in Romans 2, man? Why you ain't teach yourself before then, bro? That invalidates everything you talk. See, some people, well, he said they be sitting in Moses' seats, but don't do after they works, but do what the word say. Man, I'm not listening to you, bro. I can't put my soul in the life of a man who don't fear God. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Now, if you want to do that, that's your business. But I wouldn't recommend it. You know what I'm talking about? And that's real, man. I wouldn't recommend it. Oh, you good, said. I meant to say that when I seen it the first time. Verse 4, let us choose to us judgment. Let us know among ourselves what good. That man said, man, let's choose mishpat, man, so you can know right from wrong. Stop it. I don't want to hear it. For Job have said, I am righteous, and Elohim have taken away my judgment. Should I lie against my right? My wound incurable without transgression. What man like Job, who drink up scorning like water, which go in the company of the workers of iniquity and walk with wicked men? For he have said it profit a man nothing that he should delight himself with Elohim. Therefore hearken unto me, men of understanding. Far be it from Elohim, wickedness, and the Almighty, iniquity. That man don't do no iniquity. He don't do no wickedness. So if you born of him, there's no way in the world you going to do it and say you know him. How? If it's far from him to do wickedness and to commit perversion, then how you enemy you doing it? That means somebody lying. See, if we say we got the word of God in it, so you say you got the Ruach HaKodesh and you can do wickedness and you can commit iniquity, then you just said Yahuwah a sinner. You don't believe that? Come over here to Galatians chapter 2, verse 14. I let the pistol let back up what Elihu just said to Job and his friends. Notice how he told them, why don't you delight yourself in Elohim? That's what people's problem is. You don't take pleasure in Yahuwah. You don't take pleasure in the Father. You don't take pleasure in nothing but your own lust. How you expect everlasting salvation to come out of that, babe? How you expect that? How that's going to happen? All we want to do is discuss the certain points of the text while everybody walking around here evil as hell. You want to know something or you want to know how to be saved? Which one is it? I said 2 and 14. It's 2 and 15. You don't really need all that. He say, we, Yahudim by nature, and not sinners of the Gentiles. Knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but by faith in Yahushua HaMashiach. Even we have believed in Yahushua HaMashiach, that we might be justified by the faith of Mashiach, and not by the works of the law. For by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified. And you know where we can validate that at? So what we've been talking about, with Adam eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Was he justified before God when he did it? But did he not say that the tree of knowledge of good and evil was good? Your law say that tree was good. Just like Paul said, the law is just and good, but it don't make you just with Elohim. See, Bruce don't understand the difference between that. The law is righteous by all means, because in it is what's good. Also, in it is what's evil, but it don't make you righteous with God. It don't. And your law tell you that when you see that with Adam. Because guess what he said in Genesis chapter 3, verse 22? He said, man, let us put this tree of life, man, lest they eat of it and live forever. And everybody, you understand this, man, let's ask yourself this question, right? And give esteem to Elohim ahead of time and afterwards. Shoot, and during, if you would. You got all these men who teach the word and can't tell you what that means. You know how long I've been telling dudes that Adam was never made to live forever? Do you know it's nowhere in the text that it said Adam was made to live forever? You can't read that nowhere. It don't even insinuate it. You know what I'm saying? It don't even insinuate it. It don't even intimate it. It don't even allude to it. It don't give nothing along them lines. This man was made from dust. What part of dirt has eternal components? This man had blood in him. Think about that. How was he made to live forever when he was made with the literal construct that me and you were made with? See, people don't understand that. If he was made to live forever, that means he lost immortality. How do you lose immortality? If you're immortal, you can't die. Nobody asked themselves these questions. Nobody asked themselves, why these niggas been telling us that? This don't even make common sense. Now, can any of you explain to me how somebody who was made from dust, which is made from the earth, and the earth it can be destroyed, that how can something that was made from something that was made be eternal? He didn't have the Ruach of God in it. How can something eternal with it, which has blood in it, live forever? When he say flesh and blood can't inherit the kingdom of Elohim. Flesh and blood can't even enter into the heavenly dominion. When he say he took Enoch, it say he translated him. Think about that. See, because I'm leading to another point. And I had told Boot this the other day when these dudes was going back and forth about this particular matter. And I'm going to share this with y'all because I find it interesting. Hold on, let me get that Hebrew word for translated, by the way. Because I found it interesting and I think it's worth discussing. Yes, that is true. A lot of people focus on how long he lived. And how long he lived is irrelevant. Yeah, okay, he lived for 900 plus years. Yeah, and it ain't got nothing to do with nothing. My bad. See, that translated is in the epistle letter. It said Elohim, Enoch walked with Elohim. That's what I was talking about. And Elohim took him. What does it mean for Elohim to take him? That's Lakak. He snatched him up. He laid hold. He seized. He took possession of. He received. He accepted him. You know what I'm talking about? Now, they put that was not, but it's just not. And when you have that, he was not, that means that to not have possession or lack of or without, nothing, not. Enoch walked with Elohim and not. He was not without Elohim, and Elohim accepted him. Now, when you turn around and you look at translated in the Greek, I think that's in the epistle letter of Jude. Come on, let's go around there. Yeah, no, that's in Hebrews. So listen, it says in Hebrews 11:5 that Enoch was translated that he should not see death. So when you look at translated in the Greek, it is the transfer, it is the change. Shalom, my G. It is to be transferred, transposed. Amen, man. So when they tell you who he was changed, what you think he was changed to? He was flesh and blood. So when you look at that, like when Paul say, and in a twinkling of an eye, we shall be changed. Adam was never changed. Nothing changed with Adam after he ate from that tree other than his eyes were open. There was nothing physically about him that was changed. So when you see that, this is how you know that you're not justified by the works of the law because Adam wasn't. Because it did, again, if Adam ate from the tree of life, he would have lived forever. You know why he would live forever? Because all he would have knew was Elohim. That's it. He was made upright. He didn't know there was no need for him to know no law. You don't know no sin. You don't know evil. So what you need that for? But you don't think about that because you know why? You want to make the word of Elohim more complicated than what it is. It's really simple. Believe and delight yourself in God. Simple as that. Everything else is just added on. When you try to take your concerns and make them the concerns of Elohim, now you're doing too much. Because that's your stuff. He don't care about your stuff. He don't care about your stuff. He said, "A man, come over here to the book of Micah, man. Shalom, man. Come over here. It's book of Micah, chapter 6, man. Well, I was still holding that. Was I done in Job? It was something that I know we still holding Acts 18, Acts 28. We're going to go to Luke 24, too. Dang what I just said I was doing. Oh, Micah, chapter 6. Praise God. Yeah, man, just consider, man. That's all you got to do. Examine the text, compare spiritual things with spiritual, and consider. You know what I'm saying? And let the voice of Elohim speak to your lab. And then if you take heed to the doctrine, you know if it's a God and you know if it's not. Because it'll produce what Yahuwah said it ought to produce. Indeed. And that's a whole, because they were talking about that too, man. And that junk, they were crazy. What it is. Right here, come over here to Micah chapter 6, man. I think it's verse 6. He said, "Wherefore shall I come before Yahuwah and bow myself before the high Elohim? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings and calves of a year old? Will Yahuwah be pleased with thousands of rams or 10,000s of rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn, my transgression, the fruit of my body, the sin of my soul? He has showed me, O man, what good. What do Yahuwah require of you? But to do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your Elohim." That's all the man required. Do you not realize if they would have ate from the tree of life, that's what they would have done? They would have loved mercy, because mercy is a part of Yahuwah is, according to Exodus 34. They would have did righteously, and they would have walked humbly with their God. That's all he required. That's all he requires. You want all this other stuff. You really bring these burdens on yourself, and you make the walk with God more harder than it need to be. You know what I'm talking about? To be 100% honest with you. Let's come back over here to Galatians chapter 2, verse 16 one more time. Don't make life harder than what it need to be. Life already stressful enough. Why you want to make it more stressful? Knowing that a man is not justified by the works of the law, but by faith of Yahushua HaMashiach, even we have believed in Yahushua HaMashiach, that we might be justified by the faith of a Mashiach, and not by the works of the law, for by the works of the law shall no flesh be justified. But if while we seek to be justified by Hamashiach, we ourselves are also found sinners, therefore Hamashiach, the servant of sin, Elohim forbid. So while you looking to be perfected by faith, you can't be found a sinner. That's why he kept him from the tree. You can't be justified by faith and fooling with sin at the same time. At that point, you saying this man served you sin. He taught you sin. That's not what he taught you. That's not what he taught you. And I don't know why this is so hard for Bruce to figure out. At the end of the day, I be wondering, why are you niggas intent on sinning? Why? I don't understand. And I mean that sincerely. I don't understand. Look at, man, I was telling them boys this morning, man. I say, me not growing up in the church or growing up around people talking about Bible every day, that when I came in the word and he began to open my eyes to understand the word, and I began to see that for Shalom, man, I began to see one specific thing, that sin was a choice. That's what I seen. This is a choice. When you look at the story of Adam and Eve, that was a choice. She had a temptation, and she chose to give in to the temptation than to resist the temptation. So you take that from the standpoint of an individual who was raised to understand what discipline is. Then take on the fact of, I'm coming out of prison, and I've been working out for 2.5 years strong. You understand? Like I said, I told him this morning, right? I started working out 2007, man. So it's like 2008. I'm at Jefferson CI. Dude like, oh, you must finna get out. I said, no, I still got like a year and some change. He like, well, but you working out going hard. Because I'm like, because it's for the love of it. I take pleasure in this. It's the aspect of the grasping of the committed level of discipline that is required in order to do this. Because never before in my entire 27 years of living, before July 2007, did I even care to do a push-up, a dip, a pull-up, or even think about a weight. You understand what I'm telling you? Didn't care. But something clicked that day in that first set of 10 sets, a superset, and the pull-ups and dips, where I say, you know what? I'm going to come back tomorrow with this here. And then I began to immerse myself in everything exercise science related for the understanding of the body for the purpose of building muscle. Then I understood you got to discipline yourself in sleep. You got to discipline your but I think I did see that. Forgive me, I ain't got my glasses on. I had to discipline myself in diet in order to achieve the physique that I desired, which was really just to build muscle. I'm not doing this for no woman. Nigga, I'm in prison. Ain't no woman I'm sitting there thinking about, I'm going to get jacked. I'm going to get all the hoes. Nigga, I'm not doing this for no woman, nigga. This is what the problem with a lot of you dudes, man. You do too much stuff for women. You a slave to a woman. You don't do stuff for the specific purpose of pushing yourself to be the best version of yourself. And then because you do that, if a person shows themselves worthy to be in your presence, they get the benefit off the work that you did for yourself. Because you should have already been seeking to be physically fit before you got a woman. A woman shouldn't be your motivation. You should have a desire to hustle and get money before you got a woman. She shouldn't be your motivation. You should be desired to be the best man that you could be before you got a woman. She shouldn't be your motivation. Because if you remove that woman, your motivation gone. You shouldn't want to serve Yahuwah so you could get a woman. You ought to serve Yahuwah because that's what your desire to do. Because that's what you delight to do. Because you were doing it before you met her. Because this is a part of who you are. It's a part of your makeup. It's a part of your character. It's a part of what makes you the man that she's standing before. You dig? So see, I was in the word for a long time. I'm not serving Yahuwah like, oh, I can get me a woman. Now I'm a godly man. If you thinking about, oh, I serve Yahuwah so you can get a wife, you a buster. All the way around the bowl. You a whole goofy out here. You playing with your soul with the hopes of getting some coochie. You don't understand how lame that is? Your daddy ain't told you no better than that? Well, let me be the first. Stop it. That shouldn't be your motivation, man. Your motivation should be to delight in your maker, not try to impress some woman with it. What's wrong with you? That don't make sense. And I'm tired of these goofy niggas out here in the word telling dudes to do that, man. That's why they service is lackluster. I'm tired of these goofy niggas telling y'all to just marry a woman and you know you don't want to fool with that woman. Just stop having sex with her and get yourself together. And if you know you ain't got no bread and you staying at that woman house, get your black behind from up out of there and get yourself together. You don't need no wife if you can't take care of yourself. That's the last thing you need to be concerned with. If your soul ain't right, you don't need no wife. You need to get yourself together. But you're thinking with your wee-wee, man. You worry about if somebody else gonna get her. If she for you, ain't nobody gonna get her. She'll be there for you. And if she ain't there for you, she ain't the one for you. But you got Yahuwah. So what did you lose? See, your problem is you worry about losing people and not losing God. And that's where we messed up at. Indeed. But also that take into account what Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 7. Because it's easier for you to serve Yahuwah when you're not married. Get married, you got to focus on your spouse. So that's why you want to take the time before you get married to be strong in the Lord. But we're not doing that. Because you too focused on doing things for a woman. Do things for Yahuwah, man. And for yourself. So you can look at yourself and say, I am the man who I want to be. Not the man who this woman want you to be. Because nigga, that's not you then. Now you crafted yourself in the image that you think is going to please her. That's not really you. If they can't accept you for you, then that's not the woman for you. It's really that simple. And I ain't talking about accept you for you on this goofy stuff people be talking about you doing all type of foul stuff. I'm talking about how you dress, how you speak, what you stand for, what your motivations, what your standards and principles are. That's what makes you you. How you choose to live your life, that's what makes you you. And you should want to be godly because that's what your Father in heaven desires from you. Not so you can get a wife, man. That means you picked up the word for the wrong reason. You picked up the word for the wrong reason. Now, it's different if you're already married. That's a different conversation. Because if you got the word and you were already married, then prayerfully, I would hope you were locked in with this woman for a different reason. But it's a lot of dudes, man, they pick up the word with the hopes I can get me a wife now. I can get me a husband now. Baby, you in the word for the wrong thing, baby. You really your loin's on fire. That's really what it is. Your loin's on fire. So you can't really focus on Yahuwah because you're focusing on your loins. And when you're focusing on your loins, that means you're carnal. You're focusing on your desires. So you'll never be able to delight yourself in Yahuwah. You'll just do enough surface service in order to draw a goofy person in to fool with you so y'all can both go to hell together. Yeah, man, that's what we're doing. Let's look at 2:18 in Galatians. For if I build again the things which I destroyed, I make myself a transgressor. You cannot start rebuilding the life of sin if you tore it down. If you put it to death, what you putting it back? If you knock that house down, what you building it back for? Now you a rebel. Because if you rebuilding that what you destroyed, that means you know what you're doing. You a rebel. Let's continue. For through the law I am dead to the law, that I might live under Elohim. I am crucified with a Mashiach, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but a Mashiach live in me, and the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of Elohim, who loved me and gave himself for me. So when he say through the law, I'm dead to the law, through the very aspect of the curse of the law, which is death, and the Mashiach being made a curse for us, because cursed be he that hangeth from a tree. Now I'm dead to the law of sin, because I don't commit sin, because now I live my flesh according to the faith of Elohim to produce the fruits thereof. That's why he say the righteous are as a tree of life. Like I seen somebody to say, we ain't practicing the fruits of the Spirit. Let me tell you, I keep telling y'all this. You cannot practice the fruits of the Spirit. You can't practice that. You don't practice being merciful. You don't practice being patient. You don't practice being humble. You don't practice self-control. You absorb the word in your heart. And because you have observed the word in your heart and you hear it and understand it and guard it, it produces that. Because now you have become one with those concepts, and that comes inwardly, outwardly. That's how that works. You don't practice love. You either got love in you or you don't. You don't practice faith. You have to have faith in you or you don't. You can't practice joy. You're either joyful or you're not. You know what I'm talking about? Shalom, bro. You got to understand that. See, the reason why I'm stressing this here, because I want you to change your mindset of thinking you can practice something versus becoming that. Become it. Let me read that Matthew, man. Let me read this last verse in 21. I do not frustrate the mercy of Elohim, for if righteousness by the law, then the Mashiach dead in vain. Amen, man. Amen. I just want to know what I'm saying. That's what it's about. Become that. Let's look at Matthew 13 real quick. I'm going to get there eventually. Right here, Matthew 13, right? Verse 23. But he that received the seed in the good ground is he that hear the word and understand, which also bear fruit and bring forth some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. You see that? He said he hear it and understand. So if you hear it, remember he said, as the ear try the word, as the mouth taste meat. Remember when we read that in Job? When you hear the word and you believe it, and then you have the insight in it, you can produce the fruit of said word. You did? Let's look at Luke 8 just on general principle. Ah, man, praise the Lord, man. Praise the Lord. Let's look, Luke 8 and 11. You know I got to read 11 just on general principle. He said, now the parable is this, the seed is the word of Elohim. Now we talk about this all the time, right? And the aspect of pregnancy. Women carry life. They don't create life. There's no life in their womb. A woman's body pushes out an unused egg every 30 days. You know what I'm talking about? Eventually her womb dies. So there's no life in a woman's womb. She carries life. There's no life in a man's heart. All man can do is carry life, which is the word, if he allow it to enter into his lab. Man don't got life in him without the word. Remember where earlier, faith without works is dead. He says the body without the ruach is dead, so faith without works is dead. If you don't have the word in your lab, if in your heart, you don't have life in you. The same way if a man don't put his seed in a woman's womb, ain't no life in her womb. What does Psalms 127 call children, somebody? What does Psalms 127 call children? Who can tell me what Psalms 127, the descriptive terminology that is used to describe children? What you say? Can anybody tell me before I go around there and we look at it real fast? I don't want to say it. I want you to see it. That's why I told you what psalm it was to help you out, that you ain't even had to go on no mental escapade or excursion. Anybody? Going one, going twice? Let's hit Psalms 127:3. He say, lo, sons, an heritage of Yahuwah, and the fruit of the womb reward. Now, notice how, there it is. Appreciate that, brother. Now, notice how it described children. It described them as the what of the womb? The fruit. The fruit. Now, what does it describe? What the Ruach gives off? What does it describe it as? Fruit. So that means there's no life in a woman's womb without the seed. Now, what did Yahushua just say in Luke 8 what the seed was? The word of Elohim. And he say, it's the Ruach that quickeneth, the flesh profit nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are Ruach and they are life. So the word is the seed that produce life, which means a man's womb or his heart is void of life until the seed is there. Which means the seed has to be put there and then it has to gestate according to the time of life. If you look at it in the natural level, you know what I'm talking about? In order to produce fruit. So you can't practice this. You can't. The seed has to be implanted. Where there is no seed, there is no fruit. A lot of y'all ride past ground every day that's barren because there ain't no seeds in it. Ain't no seeds in it. If you put a seed in the ground and water it and tend to it, guess what's going to happen? Fruit going to come out. So you have to do the same thing with the word. You got to do the same thing with the word. So when we come back over here to Luke 8, I done flipped right past it. That's my bad. Go flip from it, excuse me. We come back to Luke 8, right? I'm going to read verse 11 one more time. And now the parable is this. The seed is the word of Elohim. Now we want to come to that last part, verse 15. But that on good ground are they which in an honest and good heart, having heard the word, do what? Keep it. What did we read in Proverbs 27:18? He that guard the fig tree will do what with the fruit? Eat it. So once you get that seed, you got to guard it. Once you guard it, then guess what he say? And you bring forth fruit with patience. Don't the woman bring forth fruit with patience when she carry that seed for 9 months according to the time of life? In order to produce the fruit of the womb. So you bring fruit through the patience, endurance of faith, and then you can produce faith, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, meekness, self-control. Against such there is no law. You can't produce that if the seed is not in your lab and you're guarding it. See, that's one of the biggest mistakes that we get taught to practice the fruits of the Spirit. You can't. The fruits are the byproduct and evidence that the Spirit is present in an individual. Mercy is evidence that the word of Elohim is in this man. Peace, joy, and long suffering is evidence that the word of Elohim is in this man. Self-control and love and faith is evidence that the word of Elohim is in this man. This can't be practiced. This is who he is. Yahuwah don't practice being love. Yahuwah don't practice being long-suffering. When he declared his name, Yahuwah Elohim, merciful, gracious, abundant in goodness and truth, long-suffering, forgiving sin, that's who he is. He ain't practiced that. You have to become that. We're not being taught to become that. And that's why we're not a tree of life, because we're not righteous. And you can't get that from the law. The law was never intended to produce that. It was never intended to produce that because it's simply the knowledge of good and evil. Doesn't mean the law is bad. The law is just Kadash and good all the way around the board. It's a dot. You know what I'm talking about? It's Kadash and it's Tov. Ain't nothing wrong with it. But the process of becoming Elohim, the law can't produce that. And it was never intended to. Because if it was intended to, then he wouldn't have told Adam not to eat it. You understand? He would have told Adam not to eat it. He would have told him, you can go ahead and get it, man. It's all good. See, the problem is you want to talk about the law, but you don't want to become Elohim. That's the problem. You know why you don't want to become Elohim? Because you're going to have to forsake everything in you that's contrary to him. And it's elements of you that you want to keep while trying to mesh it with him. And that's not going to work. You're going to have to relinquish self. If you boast and brag about this man sacrificing himself and he relinquished self in order to produce life, then you're going to have to do the same, baby. Hold on, let me see what it says. I have a question, please. I didn't have joy and I realized I had unforgiveness. So what if all the fruits are not there? Then cool. If you say, okay, I'm lacking joy and I'm lacking forgiveness. So this is what you do. You examine what are the hindrances. He said, I want to, my brothers who hurt. I understand. Look here, right? Let's deal with this here because it's a real question and it's a good question. You still flesh and blood. You still dust and ashes. You still have the proclivity to the desires of the flesh that are present. So what you have to do is if you say, okay, I don't have joy, you have to look and identify what is it keeping me from being joyful? Because there's a root cause. Then once the identifying root cause can be brought about, then we can begin to examine the text to see, because remember the joy of Yahuwah is your strength. So you're going to get strength in Elohim because of your joy in him. Then when you look at forgiveness, you have to look at, okay, why am I not being forgiven? That means you're holding on to some manner of hurt or resentment. So that means now you have to identify, why am I resentful? Why am I bitter? That doesn't mean that you are bitter or things like that. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you didn't feel love. So indeed. So when you're not feeling love, what ends up happening with that is resentment goes to building up. So then you have to ask yourself, okay, these people didn't love me. Why is this making me angry that they didn't love me? And why am I allowing the power of man to make me angry because they didn't give the love that I believe that I should have received? If man don't want to give you that love, that really ain't got nothing to do with you. That's more indicative of them and who they aren't. But there's one man who will never remove love from you if you love him, and that's Yahuwah. So as it says in Psalm 27, if my father and mother forsake me, Yahuwah will take me up. You have to remember, if nobody on this earth don't love you, Yahuwah do, as long as you love him. Because he said he loved those that love him. Now, what I said, it may not be that easy to pull off, because depending on who it is, it's going to bother you. Because let's not sit here and pretend that depending on who it is that you don't want love from certain people in your life. You know what I'm talking about? Let's not act like, oh, I don't care if my mama or my husband or my wife or my kids don't love me. Let's not act like you don't care, because you do. And you know how we know you do? Because if you don't receive it from them, then it bothers you. But then you have to identify, does this have something to do with me, or does this have something to do with them? And if it has something to do with them, then you can't allow yourself, and of course this is easier said than done. You have to have the spiritual fortitude and strength to understand that I will not allow the intricate internal problems of another individual to cause me to be someone that I'm not. Because if you're not naturally a bitter and resentful and angry person, then you can't allow other people to have that type of power over you, because you're not getting from them what you want. You continue to be you and let that be an indicative on them. Because as long as you continue to show love to them and they don't show love to you, then that's going to be condemnation on them, because that's going to be a testimony against them. So when they go stand before that throne, they're going to have to answer to Yahuwah about that. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times we have to make sure that we look inwardly and examine ourselves. And just like what he said in Psalms 139, if there be anything in me contrary, show it to me so I can remove it. So if you see, hey, my joy not where it's supposed to be, or I'm feeling unforgiving or bitter or resentful, you go to Yahuwah and you ask him to let me see and understand why it is that I possess these things, so that I can see through your word what it is that I can do to correct them to become who it is that you desire for me to be. But also don't allow people to have power over you based on what they do to you, because that's how Satan come in and wreak his havoc. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, man, you know what I'm talking about? Just let them people be what it is, because if they don't love you back, you start praying. I went to all of them and told them what was hurting me and asked them to forgive me. Well, then you did what you were supposed to do. And then after that, you got to continue serving Yahuwah because you can't do no more than that. You can't do no more than that. If it's been discussed, it's been expressed, then you got to serve Yahuwah. You can't do no more than that. You can't do no more than that. If they don't want to love you back, then you have to look at it as that's a loss for them if you choose to remove yourself from their lives. You always have to remember, if you know that you are adding a substantial amount of value and benefit to people, and they do stain on you, then you have to remove yourself from them because that's their loss. That's their loss. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that's what you got to do. So we ain't talking about what you feel like you add. If you know that you are adding a level of usefulness that benefits somebody that you may necessarily not be getting any benefit from because you're doing it and they acting XYZ, then hey man, that's your loss. I'm gone. I'm gone. But a lot of time, man, a lot of people don't know how to love. They ain't got the love in them, so they don't even realize that they're not doing that. So sometimes you might have to admit it because niggas might not even realize that's what they doing. Because sometimes we get in our mind and you think people are intentionally doing things to harm you. And sometimes people don't realize that what they say or what they may be doing may have a deleterious effect on your mental state. Because most people ain't intentionally. In general, I don't believe most people are intentionally trying to harm other people. Some niggas do. And when I say niggas, I mean niggas in the purest sense. Not skin color, not nationality of person, but just a character trait of it. Some people, some evil people just want to hurt people. They get joy from it. But I don't believe that most people go out intentionally saying, I want to cause harm and pain to the people that I care about. A lot of times people don't realize they're doing it, or they're in situations and they don't really know how to deal or handle with that situation. And you give people entirely too much credit to believe that they know how to handle something, especially if it's something that they've never experienced before. So I realize that they're not my brothers. You all are my family. Well, praise be to you, and that's all good. And I'm sorry to hear that that's the case. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is, man. Prayerfully, y'all can reconcile that and get that together. You know what I'm talking about? You know, because I understand. So I think I read Luke 8. What else I had? Oh, Acts 18. I understand, man. It'd be rough out here, man. Now you have to also realize this here, man. A lot of people in the word, man, they just in it to be in it. They really don't give a damn about nobody. They don't care about you. Again, like I told you before, man, if people don't love you, who are they not gonna love you? You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna love you. Now, of course, on the natural side of things, you can have people who love you and they don't love you, who are per se. But that comes down to what type of person they is. Because some people just got love in them. They care about people. They're concerned with people. They're concerned with people they know. They're concerned with people they don't know. You know what I'm talking about? But nevertheless, Acts 18, verse 24. And a certain Yahudim named Apollos, born at Alexandria, an eloquent man, mighty in the scriptures, came to Ephesus. This man was instructed in the way of the Lord, being fervent in the Ruach, and he spake and taught diligently the things of the Lord, knowing only the immersion of John. So remember this here. This person only knew the baptism of John. That's all they knew. That is all they knew. Well, that's all he knew. So knowing this here, he didn't know anything past that. So he didn't know nothing that Yahushua did or said. And he began to speak boldly in the synagogue, whom when Aquila and Priscilla had heard, they took unto and expounded unto him the way of Elohim more perfectly. And when he was disposed to pass into Achaia, the brethren wrote, exhorting the disciples to receive him, who, when he was come, helped them much which had believed through grace. For he mightily convinced the Yahudim, publicly showing by the scriptures that Yahushua was the anointed one. So, of course, he went through the text and showed them that. Y'all remember this Acts 28 and 23, because we spent about a good month dealing with it. And when they had appointed him a day, when he came into lodging, to whom he expounded and testified the Malkuth for Elohim, persuading them concerning Yahushua, both out of the law of Moses and the prophets, from morning until evening. Remember, he said out of Moses and the prophets. Now, I mentioned all that to get us to Luke 24. And then we're going to move to something else. Really back to Leviticus 25. That's what we need to do. Because that's incomplete. Now, these brothers were discussing. Matter of fact, before we do that, let's read Psalms 40 and 7. Before we do that, let's read Psalms 40 and 7. Now, what these dudes were discussing was Mashiach being in the book. And individuals asked if you was going, as you just seen where it say Paul started at Moses, where in Moses would you start? And I'm like, of course, you're going to start in Genesis 1 and 1. And my man said something. One dude was like, people, because they want to have the pre-existence of Yahusha, that they have to impose him in the text in places where they're not. And my man Zadok said something that sat in my mind, that brought to pass something in my mind with these two particular places in Luke, where we're about to read, y'all will it in a moment, is he was like, you'll say people trying to put Yahusha everywhere, and he was like, but y'all don't see him nowhere. And see, the thing is, by the grace of Elohim, we can see Yahushua HaMashiach manifested in the text. Since I said that, Matthew 11:25, all esteem the Abba and Shamahim in the name of Yahushua for this right here. So we're going to read this Matthew 11:25. And at that time, Yahushua answered and said, I thank thee, O Abba, master of Shamahim and Arats, because you have hid these things from the wise and prudent and have revealed them unto babes. Even so, Abba, for it seemed good in your sight. All things are delivered unto me of my Abba, and no man know the Son but the Abba. Neither know any man Abba save the Son, and to whomsoever the Son will reveal. See, listen to something, right? By the grace of Elohim, he has revealed his Son to us. And because he's revealed his Son to us, the Son is able to reveal the Abba to us. That is not by any works of righteousness that any one of us have performed. It is not by any manner of kadoshness that any one of us have completed. It is nothing other than the eternal mercifulness, graciousness, and the abundance of goodness and truth that he declared in his name that he has shown unto us. So let his kadosh name forever be esteemed, and don't ever forget that. This is all Yahuwah's doing. It's not us. See, the problem where we come in with a lot of bruises is you believe you studied your way to something. You believe you worked your way to something, and you have completely removed he who shows mercy from the entire equation. Because no man can know or see or understand anything unless the living Elohim see fit to reveal it. See, when you go to get having that type of comment, that's that Christian talk or this, that, there, and the third, because niggas want to believe they smart. Nobody actually wants to be humble enough and say, oh yeah, by the grace and mercy of God, I was able to understand this here. He opened my eyes to this here. He opened my heart to receive this here. I didn't study my way to. That's arrogance and pride to think you studied your way to knowing something. It's a disgrace and abomination before he who sit in Shamayim. Entirely. You know how we know this? Because there's people who study this word day and night and know nothing. And know nothing. There are university scholars and professors that study this word day and night and know nothing. You can't study your way to understanding. The Almighty got to give you that inspiration. If he don't give it, you won't have it. And I don't care what damn nigga walking this earth say, because that's what the words say. And I'm going to take the word of Yahuwah over man. Excuse me, every time. Psalms 40 and 4. Baruch the man that trusts, that make Yahuwah his trust. See, this is a lot of things that people don't really talk about. You a blessed individual if you done made Yahuwah your trust. Please know and understand that. And don't let none of these goofy, no good, wicked, unbelieving bastards tell you different. You are a blessed individual if you have made Yahuwah your trust. Didn't he say, blessed be the man who trusteth in Yahuwah, whose hope Yahuwah is? If Yahuwah is your hope, you are a blessed individual. I don't care what these niggas talking about. When we look at trust in this particular verse, it's mibtak, that's trust, confidence, refuge, act of confiding, state of confidence, security. If the state of your confidence rests in Yahuwah, blessed be you. Don't let these goofy niggas tell you nothing different. Because you scared to be labeled something. You care too much what a goofy nigga think. See, I praise Yahuwah, man, that before I was in the word, boy, I ain't give a damn what a nigga thought or said about me, nigga. My thought process of how I view myself never lived and died on what another nigga said. Definitely not what no woman said. Nigga, you can't define me. You can't tell me what make me me. Nigga, who the hell are you? Nigga, who is you? Who is you? Like Keith Sweat said, nigga, nobody. Straight up and down. I don't care what you think about me. I don't care what you say about me. What that gonna do to me? I'm supposed to go in the room and cry? I'm supposed to feel bad about myself? Because you said, oh, he sound like a Christian. Okay, nigga, so what? So when I tell you I ain't never been in the church, now what? Now what? Now you feel extra stupid. You know what I'm talking about? And you know why you feel extra stupid? Because you ain't got nothing that you could quantify or set up to justify your statement. Because that's your fail-safe to say when somebody's saying something that esteem God and you don't like it. These niggas don't love Yahuwah, man. They don't. And I say that confidently. Because I observe the things that we hold highly and the things that we argue about. We don't love Yahuwah. We don't. And it shows. It shows. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue. Verse 4 one more time. Baruch, that man that make Yahuwah his trust, respect not the proud, nor such as turn aside the lies. Many, O Yahuwah, my Elohim, your wonderful works you have done, and your thoughts to us word that cannot be reckoned up in order unto you. I would declare and speak, they are more than can be numbered. Sacrifice and offering you did not desire, my ears have you opened. Burnt offering and sin offering have you not required. Then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book, written of me. I delight to do your will, O my Elohim. Yea, your law within my heart. So let's look at that, because them boys was arguing about how that reads. Dude saying this was talking about David. David's definitely not in the volume of the book. That's for certain. When you look at volume, it is Migalah, mean, Gamal, Lamad, hey, that's roll, that's book, that's writing. That's roll, that's book, that's writing. When we take a look at that mean, we could take a little bit of Ruach, and we could take a little bit of Gamal and make it that messenger, and take that Lamad and make it that teacher, or that teaching, and take that hey and say behold, and all you can sit back is behold the shepherd's teachings, or the way of the shepherd's Ruach. Behold it. Look at his teachings. Remember, we start with John 5:39 every time. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify in me. That's what he said. That's what he told them people. He said, man, search that book, boy. Because you think you finna live forever, and boy, that thing talking about me, boy. Yeah. Yeah, that's what he told them. Let's come over here and look at Luke 24, man, 25, man. Now, of course, it don't say, Yahushua not speaking here. It gives evidence of what occurred. Luke 24 and 25. Then said he unto them, O fools and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Ought not Hamashiach to have suffered, Shalom, Sister Kelly, have suffered these things to enter into his esteem? And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded unto them in all the scriptures, in all of them, the things concerning himself. When he said all of them, he meant all of them. Now we're going to go over here to 44 of the same chapter. And he said unto them, these the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled which were written in the law of Moses and in the prophets and in the Psalms concerning me. Then he opened their understanding that they might understand the scriptures. And he said unto them, thus it is written, thus it behooved the Mashiach to suffer and to rise from the dead the third day, and that repentance and remission of sins should be preached in his name among all nations, beginning at Jerusalem. Let Yahuwah be esteemed. Now, why is this important in the aspect of why we read this? This is what came to my mind, and it might have came to my mind previously. I don't know. Yahuwah knows. But it definitely came to my mind on that particular day. When we look at these two passages with Mashiach manifesting himself throughout the text, what is the one thing that stands out that is not mentioned to any one of you? What is the most glaring thing that stands out to you? Because it says that he manifested into all the scriptures the things concerning himself. What is the one glaring thing that stands out to y'all that is not mentioned? Anybody? Somebody. What's the one thing that stands out to y'all that is not mentioned in this discourse that he had with these 11 men? And of course, you've seen, we just read a politics of Alexandria doing it, and that same thing is missing there. We read about Paul doing it in Acts 28, and that same thing is missing there. What do you think that is that's missing? Brother Nate say he don't know. Anybody? What we at one hour 11 minutes. I give you one more minute to think on it. You say you're not sure, Brother Marvin. Brother Marvin say I ain't sure, and it's understandable. I just want to give y'all a second to think about it. What's the one glaring thing that is missing? Know what I'm saying? From Luke 24 and 25, 27, and Luke 24 and 44, and Acts 18 and 25, and Acts 28 and 23. All these men beginning at Moses and all the scriptures expounded the things about Yahushua HaMashiach. And this one particular thing that is missing in these three accounts. You got 15 more seconds. Seven more seconds. Shoot, I just told you the other day. And you know what that thing is that's missing? Nowhere in those accounts. Not in Luke 24 and 27. Not in Luke 24 and 44. Not in Acts 18 and 25. Not in Acts 28 and 23. Though Acts 18 and Acts 28 are a little bit more to the side versus the Luke. It doesn't elucidate what he showed them. It don't show you what he showed them in Moses. It don't show you what he showed him in the prophets. It don't show you where he showed himself in the Psalms. So you know what that tells us? That you can't study your way to the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. That has to be revealed. He got to give you that. See, that's what a lot of people look at. That's why they can't see him in the text. They can only see him in the places that everybody talk about. Isaiah 53, Daniel 7, Psalms 22. You know, the places that you can read in the New Testament that he say is talking about him. Like Psalms 118. Or you know, like what Peter mentioned him in Psalms 2. But does it say where he showed them this in Genesis 35 or Genesis 49 or Genesis 6 or Genesis 3? It don't show you nothing. Did he tell you what song? Because it said all scripture. So that means from Genesis to Malachi, he up in there, every line, every verse. He there. He told you, search it. I'm there. I'm there. He didn't show them that. When I say he didn't show them that, it's not shown to us as it's shown what he showed them, what he taught them. You don't see it. You don't see it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I read that Matthew 11 and 25. Indeed, there, he got to reveal it. So that's why dudes will tell you you're superimposing or you're doing this or you're doing that because the Father in heaven didn't see fit for his son to be revealed to you because he don't want himself revealed to you. See, if the Son get revealed to you, that means the Father in heaven get revealed to you. So if the Son ain't revealed to you, guess who else you ain't getting to know? See, people don't want to deal with that because the secret of it. Come over here to Romans 16. So some of y'all remember some years back, niggas felt like anybody can do that because they thought you could study your way to this. They didn't realize that's a grace of God. Boy, that ain't got nothing to do with the person who preached it. I'm going to read that Revelation 19 in a second, Brother Mark. See, a lot of times, a lot of brothers feel like certain things are indicative of the person preaching it. No, it ain't got nothing to do with that person. That person is just a vessel, a conduit. They're not nobody special. The same man got to stand before that same judgment seat of a Mashiach just like you do. That same man is dust and ashes just like you are. That same man is subject to like passions just like you are. That person ain't nobody special. It's man elevating preachers to a level of prestige because of really a lack of belief, to be quite honest with you, and the cult of personality and really the man worshiping. You know what I'm talking about? And what makes it worse is most preachers will lean into that. See, they won't do like what Peter did when he told that man, get up. I'm a man like you are, worship God. What you bowing down to me for? Get your black behind up. What's wrong with you? The same way when John fell down to the angel said, hey man, don't do that, man. Worship God. Don't do that. See, most people who preach the word, you'll let people do that. That's a sign that that man ain't a God. Because no just man gonna do that. He don't want the esteem. He wants you to get his esteem to who is due. I got to get his man esteem. I need him. What I need you praising me for? Now, like I told you before, if some people praise God because of you, that's an unspeakable gift because that means that Yahuwah is dealing with an individual enough to where you're thanking Elohim for this individual when really you're not thanking that man, you thanking God because that's who you accepting. You're not accepting the man. You know what I'm talking about? But see, people get caught up. Man, people worship man. That's all. Romans 16, man. Verse 25. Now to him that is the power to establish you according to my basar and the preaching of Yahushua HaMashiach, according to the revelation of the mystery, which was kept secret since the world began. See, the testimony of Yahushua been secret. It's been secret. Now it's revealed. But it's not revealed. He's just not tossing that out to any and everybody. What did Paul say a steward must be found to be? Paul said a steward must be what? No. You thinking about a bishop. You're thinking about a bishop. He said a steward must be found a particular thing. Can anybody tell me what that is? I believe it's in 1 Corinthians chapter 4. Now you think that's the same thing my mama said. That's in you thinking about a bishop. We're not thinking about a bishop in this end. There it is. That's it there. Come over here to 1 Corinthians 4:1. He said, let a man so account of us as of the servants of Hamashiach and stewards of the mysteries of Elohim. Moreover, it is required in stewards that a man be found faithful. You know what I'm talking about? He said it's required. What is a steward? They're the keeper of another man's goods, are they not? So you have to guard this man good. You're gonna let a crackhead be a steward over your money. Because they ain't faithful. See, you wondering why these dudes ain't got no word because they not faithful. That's why he ain't committed these men these mysteries. He's just not, y'all don't know. Let me tell you something, man. All praise to Abba and Shamahim in the name of Yahushua. Listen and understand, right? The mysteries of Elohim is the kingdom of Elohim. Like what he said in Matthew, right? That a person take that pearl and what they do with it? They hide it because it's of great what? Value. We don't really want to accept that the mystery of Yahushua HaMashiach is the most valuable and precious thing a man can possess. Why? Because it's the key to life. It's the key to receiving the Ruach HaKodesh, the most valuable thing that, and I'm not talking about possessing it for the purpose of preaching. I'm talking about possessing it for the purposes of gaining eternal life. We don't value that because you think it's Christian-y or you think it's whatever you might think it is. So you don't value that. What did he tell you to do in Proverbs 23? What he told you to buy? What did he tell you to buy in Proverbs 23 and 23? Let's take a look. Buy the truth and sell not. Wisdom, instruction, and understanding. Now, we've dealt with this passage before, and we're not going to go into it in great detail tonight. So you know, if you buy the truth, you buy the mouth, you've bought faithfulness. When you talk about bias, means to acquire and possess. But hold on, you've acquired firmness, faithfulness, truth, sureness, reliability, stability, testimony and judgment, divine instruction. So he said you need to possess the truth. Yahushua say he the truth, is he not? And the way and the life, correct? So if he tell you to buy the truth or buy Yahushua or buy the way, if you're buying him, then you're buying the mystery. You're seeking to acquire and to possess that. And buy again is konah, and that is to acquire, to obtain, to possess. The acquiring of knowledge and wisdom, to possess. Why don't you possess a mouth? He told you to get it. Then he told you, don't sell it. Well, what is to sell? It is makar. What does that mean? To sell, to be given over to death, to sell oneself. See, praise be to Yahuwah. See, that's going to lead us back when we get back to Leviticus 25, dealing with those who sold themselves into bondage. He said, hey, man, acquire a mouth and don't give yourself over to death. That means don't give yourself over to sin. Don't give yourself over to unbelief. Acquire the faithfulness of the divine instruction of the living Elohim. Acquire that. God bless, Brother Langford. Then he told you to get you some wisdom. What's that? That's some kokma. Get you some skill in war. Get you some shrewdness. Get you some prudence. So now after you done acquired this faithfulness and not giving yourself over to death, the fear of Yahuwah is the beginning of wisdom. Get you some skills so you know how to move. Then after that, he told you now acquire you some musar or some instruction. Get you some discipline and some correction and some chastening. Don't Psalms 94 and 12 say, blessed are those who are chastened out of your law? Ain't that what he said? He said, chasten your son while there is hope and spare not for his crime. Didn't the writer in Hebrews say that if you be without chastisement, you bastard and not a son? But if you've been chastised, you bring forth the peaceable fruits of righteousness to all those who are exercised thereby. So then after he tell you that, he said, get you some discipline and some correction in your life. Get hold of that and don't give yourself over. See, when you forsake truth, wisdom, and instruction, you giving yourself over to death. Then he tell you, get you some understanding too now. Copy some of that. Get you some banah. Get you some discernment. Get you some insight. Get you some discernment. He say, acquire that. Possess that. And you think he just giving them mysteries to anybody? If you think he just giving these mysteries to anybody because they are Israelite, you stupid. And I'll tell you that to your face. You stupid. You know why you stupid? Because you're lying to yourself. You only become stupid when you lie to yourself. See, stupid is the evidence of truth and the denial of that which is in your face. That's what makes you stupid. See, being stupid is not necessarily being devoid of intelligence. Being stupid is not necessarily being devoid of knowledge. Shoot, being stupid is not even necessarily being devoid of wisdom. It's seeing a fact in your face, seeing the truth in your face, and denying what is observable right before your eyes. That's what being stupid is. See, being stupid is you see that this is a $2 hoe, but you think you can make her a wife. You stupid. See, being stupid is you see this nigga ain't got no job, he ain't got no car, he ain't got no ambition, he ain't got no plan, he ain't got no vision, he ain't got nothing going for his life. And you like, you know what? I can make him a good husband. You stupid. Because you see the facts right in your face. And you saying, no, that's not what's in front of me. That's what being stupid is. See, being dumb is really you just don't know what you're talking about. Remember, you say they dumb dogs who can't bark. You know what I'm saying? You talking, but you really don't know what you're talking about. That's what makes you dumb. See, being ignorant, never be shamed for being ignorant. Because that means you just don't know. That means somebody needs to take the time to instruct you. Never once have you ever seen me say ridicule anybody for being ignorant. And that ain't got to be about no word. That can be about anything in life. Because there is something in life that all of us do not know. There's something that you are not privy to. I guarantee you, most of us don't know anything about molecular physics. Yeah, most of us don't even know the intricate details of finance. That doesn't mean that you are of low grade intelligence. That just means that that's not your trade of choice. Therefore, you don't know the ins and outs of it. Like, of course, like we talk about it, say you'll have women try to ridicule you. You don't even know how to fix a car. So what? How do you think I came out the womb knowing how to work on metal? Somebody got to teach you that. You have to be taught how to work on an engine. You got to be taught how to fool with a transmission. Somebody got to teach you how to do that. I know we got a lot of this do-it-yourself stuff out here, and this is what make people think that they actually are more skilled and smarter than what they are. Because now you think I can do everything myself. No, you can't. That's why you have skilled tradesmen. Because some people, that is their skill. They are proficient and efficient in the execution of said skill. That's why people think they can preach the word. And that's why they're not proficient or efficient. That's why they're not a ready scribe, because you've not been trained in that particular vocation. You ain't been trained in that. So now you think anybody, I could do it myself. That's what's wrong with, there's nothing wrong with doing things yourself, but you got to allow yourself to remember doing things yourself does not mean that you skilled as somebody who that's their particular trade or vocation of choice. You dig? But being stupid, there's no excuse for being stupid. Stupid is a choice. Stupid is the denying of reality. Don't be stupid. And then, of course, we have our favorite. And if you know the movie, you know exactly what I'm about to allude to. Don't go full retard. Because some people go full retard. Never go full retard. Never. Because going full retard is a different level of that is stupid, ignorance, and dumbness combined into one. Do not go full retard. And a lot of people out here, they've gone full retard. Let me get that Revelation 19 and 10, Brother Marvin put out there, and then he just dropped 2 Timothy 3 and 16. Revelation 19 and 10. So when you look at Revelation 19 and 10, it says, and I fell at his feet to worship him, and he said unto me, see not, I am your fellow servant of your brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua, worship Elohim, for the testimony of Yahushua is the ruach of prophecy. The testimony of Yahushua is what gives breath to every prophecy in this book. Now, see, 2 Timothy 3 and 16 is a particular passage that is grossly misused among many a brew and many a Christian, to be quite honest with you. I'm going to pick it up at verse 14 in 2 Timothy chapter 3. But continue thou in the things which you have learned and have been assured of knowing, of whom you have learned, and that from a child. Notice he said from a child. So who is Paul talking to? He's talking to Timothy. What was Timothy's occupation? He was a preacher. He was a minister. Come over here. Come over here to 1 Timothy chapter 1 so I can establish that for you. 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse what? 12. I said chapter 1. I meant chapter 4. 1 Timothy chapter 4, verse 12. Matter of fact, make it verse 5 or verse 6. He said, if you put the brethren in remembrance of these things, you shall be a good minister, a good servant of Yahushua HaMashiach, nourished up in the words of faith and of good doctrine, whereunto you have attained. Now, I want you to drop down some more. I want you to see that Timothy is a preacher. So what he is writing to Timothy is something that is for preachers, not for everybody. It's not. It's really not. And some of y'all already know this, but for those who have never heard it, you can hear it now. Now let's drop down here to verse 12 of 1 Timothy chapter 4. Let no man despise your youth, but you would be an example of believers in word, in conduct, in love, in ruach, in faith, in purity. Till I come, give attendance to reading, to exhortation, to doctrine. Now let's look at what that means to give attendance to reading. Do y'all remember what it said about Mashiach when he went into the synagogues? What did it say he stood up to do? If you don't recall, let's take a look at Luke chapter 4. No, praise be to Yahuwah. I ain't see ourselves going in this direction, but praise be to Yahuwah. We're going to go high I go. Luke chapter 4, verse 16. And he came to Nazareth, and when he was brought up, as his custom was, he went into the synagogue on Shabbat and stood up for to read. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. And when he opened the book, he found the place where it was written, the Ruach of Yahuwah upon me, because he have anointed me to preach the basar to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of Yahuwah. And he closed the book and gave again to the minister and sat down. And the eyes of all of them that were in the synagogue were fastened on him. And he began to say unto them, this day is this scripture fulfilled in your ears. And all bear him witness and wondered at the gracious words which proceeded out of his mouth. And they said, is this not Joseph's son? When they heard him say Luke 61, they say these are gracious, loving words. Now, understand something, right? These people had been reading Isaiah 61, which of course it wouldn't be Isaiah 61 to them in their time, long before that man was there. But they understood the grace and mercy of Elohim when he stood up and read it to them that day. Now let's look at here. Let's see what it is when he said to give attendance to reading. What is giving attendance? It is to bring near, to turn the mind to attend, to be attentive, to take heed, to apply oneself to be given or addicted to, or to give in thought or effort to. So he wants to give him a thought and effort to reading. What is reading in this particular instance? It's knowing, it is reading. So it's to give attendance to reading or teaching the word. Now, what is exhort or reading the word? What is exhortation? What is that? That's calling near, a supplication, an admonition, encouragement, consolation, comfort, solace, words which afford comfort or refreshment, instructive, a discourse, a powerful oratory, but again, discourse, more so comfort and consolation. Well, what is the gospel supposed to do? Ain't it supposed to console you? Ain't it supposed to bring you comfort? That's not the work of a regular dude. That's not the work of a nigga at the house. Now, what is doctrine? Which, of course, y'all know what that is. Teaching or instruction, teaching, precepts, that which is taught. Now, why is that important? Y'all know what we got to do. Ecclesiastes 11. And then we'll come right back to 2 Timothy chapter 3. Ecclesiastes 11. Ecclesiastes 11 and 9. He said, moreover, because the preacher was wise, he still taught the people knowledge. Yea, he gave good heed, sought out, and set in order many proverbs. The preacher sought to find out acceptable words and written upright words of truth. The words of the wise is goads and nails fastened by the master of assemblies, which are given from one shepherd. That's the preacher's job. Didn't he just basically tell Timothy he was a preacher? Now, when we come back over here to 2 Timothy 3 and 16, well, 3 and 14, I should say. I'll get there eventually. That's another thing with Timothy that's in my mind. It's ringing in my brain. Hold on one second, man. Come over here to 1 Timothy chapter 2. I want y'all to really understand who and what Timothy is or was in regards to that you could see that this man was a preacher. 1 Timothy 2 and 12. And I thank Mashiach Yahushua our Lord, who have enabled me, for he counted me faithful, putting me in the ministry. Now, we don't want that because he's talking about himself. Come down to verse 18. That's Paul talking about himself. That's a whole nother conversation. He said, now unto the king, now this charge I commit unto you, son Timothy, according to the prophecies which went before on you, that you might by them might war a good warfare, holding faith in a good conscience, which have some put away concerning faith, have made shipwreck. Now, what we came here for is look at what he said, that he might war by the same prophecies that he was given. And the testimony of Yahushua is the what? The ruach of prophecy. You know what I'm talking about? What war is he fighting? It's a war for souls. See, it's a lot of people that want to pick up guns and weapons and you not fit for the battlefield. Yeah, there's a lot of people, man, they ain't ready for when them bullets fly, man. You know what I'm talking about? Then when the bullets go to flying and you go get to getting hit, now you want to be like, no. See, that wasn't me. Now you don't want to be a preacher no more when that comes. Because remember when we read in 2 Timothy chapter 2, that he said, he that war cannot entangle himself with the cares and affairs of his life, but please him who have chosen him to be a soldier. This is an instruction and an exhortation and a comfort and a consolation and an encouragement for a man who got work to do. That's why I say that 2 Timothy gets misused a lot. A lot. Oh, it's actually 2 Timothy, but it's all good. That's what I was referring to. I don't know why I kept thinking that 3 was what I was thinking about. Come over here to 2 Timothy 2 and 15. Because that 2 Timothy 3 is a different conversation. I'm glad I just caught that in my mind. Praise the Lord. So listen, right? Verse 14 of 2 Timothy chapter 2, right? Listen what he says. Of these things put in remembrance, charging before the Lord, that they strive not about words to no profit, to the subverting of the hearers. Study to show yourself approved unto Elohim, a workman that need not be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. See, that passage get misused a lot because he said a workman. What did Yahushua say about the workman? The workman was what? Worthy of his hire, was it not? This man said the laborers are few. So no. You studying the word is not showing yourself approved unto God, nigga. You're not a workman. But now what he mentioned in 2 Timothy 3, that's what that is. Listen to what he say, right? Listen what he say about Timothy as forfeit his childhood. I'm going to read verse 14 again. But continue in the things which you, matter of fact, let's make that 13. Evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. But continue in the things which you have learned and been assured of knowing whom you have learned. That's why you buy the truth and sell it not. Also wisdom and instruction and understanding. Then you can be assured of who you learned of and what you have learned. So the evil men can't seduce you and deceive you. Listen to the next thing he say, and that from a child you have known the Kadash scriptures, which are able to make you wise unto salvation through faith, which is in Mashiach Yahushua. You see how you got 2 of them elements, and that buy the truth and sell it not. You got the wisdom and you got the truth. Because if you know the Kadash scriptures, then you can be wise enough and skillful enough to move according to the reliability of the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. Look at the next thing he say, all scripture is given by inspiration of Elohim, profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness, which is Proverbs 23 and 23 again. And that's the next he say, that the man of Elohim may be what? Perfect. Thoroughly furnished unto all good works. You see how that go back to the point we were talking about, that once you put that seed in good ground, it can produce that fruit. When you have a good and honest heart and you guard it, then you can be made perfect because you will produce the perfection that is Yahuwah. We can't turn around and say Yahuwah is perfect, just, upright, and good, and that his word is perfect, just, upright, and good. And then you say you in his word and his word is in you, but you not perfect, just, upright, and good. Does that make sense to you? And why have we allowed wicked men to convince us that you can't be that? No, nigga, you can't be that. Just because you don't want to guard the fig tree, you know what I'm talking about, doesn't mean that I'm not. No, you have to stop accepting that to make yourself see, I don't want to make myself seem better than nobody. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Let Yahuwah be esteemed if you be like Nehemiah and say, I can't come down to you. You're going to have to come up here to me. That is not a level of pride because you say, no, brother, I don't participate in that. And don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. No. I'm not a liar. I'm not a fornicator. I'm not a whoremonger. I am not adulterous. I am not full of strife, contention, malignity, and debate. I am not full of lasciviousness, uncleanliness, the evil eye, or blasphemies, or any other such of evil works. By the grace and mercy of the living Elohim through his son, Yahushua HaMashiach, I have been washed and purged and cleansed myself of such maladies. Because in my sickness I was grieved, and he brought healing through his word, and now I'm whole, and I will not return to that level of sickness. Don't you put that on me. Because when you say that, your Father in heaven is being esteemed because you're giving credit where credit is due. Because you heard the word and believed and turned, and so that you could be transformed into the image of his son. Stop letting these people put that stuff on you because he want to beat his meat all night. Because he's full of debate and strife and contention and lust. Don't put that on me. If that's not how you live in your life, then don't allow somebody to put that on you, or you try to capitulate so you don't want to ostracize you. Nah, nigga, I don't do that. That man say take up your stake and what? Daily, and do what? Follow him. So if you taking up your stake daily, you're denying yourself every single solitary day. Yeah, I could sin, I choose not to. You're not finna tell me that I'm finna choose to do something I don't take no pleasure in doing. Why you letting people convince you got to be pleasured in sin? I don't want to sin. It doesn't excite me. It don't move me. I don't care nothing about that. I don't want to do that. I don't participate in that. It vexes my spirit. The only thing these niggas vex about is transgenders and sissies. That's the only thing these niggas upset by. Adulterers don't make them mad. Whoremongers don't make them mad. Thieves don't make them mad. Oppressors don't make them mad. And I ain't even talking about oppressors in high places. I'm talking about oppressors right in your face. That don't make you mad. You know what I'm talking about? Amen. That don't make you mad. The adulterers don't make you mad. The blasphemers don't make you mad. The only thing you mad about is he, she's, and punks. It's more wickedness going on out here than he, she's, and punks, my nigga. Way more. You got time to be focusing on no faggot? Care nothing about him? I don't care about people outside the house. When I say I don't care about them, I mean I'm not overly concerned with the conduct that they're participating in. I would expect them to do that. But I should have a level of expectation that those who have said they have walked in the house of the mighty Elohim, Yahuwah of hosts is his name, have removed such things for themselves before they walk through the doors of his house. And that they wouldn't participate in such conduct because it wouldn't be becoming of that who profess themselves to be a saint, to be a Kased, to be a Kadeshim, to be a servant of Elohim, to be a son or daughter of Elohim. That's not how those in his household behave. Yeah, I don't care about what they out there doing. Let's come over here to Leviticus 25. Sometimes, man, I don't think we really sit back and really like pause for a minute and really realize the level of love, mercy, and reconciliation that our Elohim has done in order to redeem us back to him, of which we are not worthy. See, we walk around here in our pride and arrogance. You think you owe this. And you know why you think you owe this? Because you have genuinely forgotten what manner of man you were before this man showed himself to you. You forgot what you was doing. You forgot how you was living. You forgot what you was speaking. Most importantly, you forgot the mindset you had, which moved you to the conduct that you participated in. That you have actually forgotten that you are genuinely worthy of death. But because he is merciful that he might be feared, he has extended repentance and remission of sins unto you, and you don't appreciate the gift because you believe you owed it. You don't. Let me tell you something, man. Oh boy. Cramp in my abs and my hamstring. A good one in my abs too. Good Lord. All right, give me a second. I caught a cramp in my abs, in my hamstring. The album subsided. The hamstring is not. Oh, probably so. I can't even sit down at this juncture. Oh, I can't even sit down at this juncture. So, with that being said, because we don't think about what this man done did, That's how you can walk around and live your life and thinking, you know what? It's okay, because if I sin, he forgave me, and I can do it again. I can live any way I want, because we got grace and mercy. And see, like I said, you'll talk and you'll say that to a Christian about grace and mercy mean this, grace and mercy mean that, but that's not how you treat it. You treat it the same way you say that he treated it. And that's hypocrisy. That's pure and unadulterated hypocrisy. Ooh. I ain't caught a cramp in my abs in a long time. Yeah, you might have given me a second. This one here gonna take a second. Yeah, this one here gonna take a second. Because I can't sit down right now. My stomach gonna lock up. These ab muscles gonna lock up. Yeah, I told you I'm gonna need some more water. I ain't drink that much water today. I ain't gonna lie to you. God. The hamstring unlocked. Both of them unlocked. Good grief. I'm gonna try to sit down. That ain't gonna work. I'm gonna have to stand up and read it to you, because sitting down ain't gonna work. We was in Leviticus what? 25? Come on to 25 and 3. Well, I remember one time, boy, when I was up that road, we were playing ball. I went to do a layup. I can't even remember if I made the layup. But boy, I caught a cramp in my quad in mid, or my hamstring in mid-air. I thank the Lord for that dude ready from Tallahassee, because he had enough generosity to help get that doggone cramp out my leg, boy. I think that was the first time in my entire life I caught a cramp by jumping. Because boy, we used to be out there playing, and it'd be 98 degrees out there, man. Your whole doggone radiator bust out that hole. I did the regular ab training I do every Friday. They caught me today, though. What a lot of people don't realize is, yeah, you got to be lean for your abs to come out. But your abs is a muscle, just like any other muscle. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about? And I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all. And if you train them with some weights, you know what I'm saying, it'll push through the skin, and you can still have abs even if you ain't at the lowest possible body fat percentage you can be. I think this might have been the first time I trained abs every day this week, and I train 6 times a week. So, and this is about the 4th time I did legs, some type of leg movement this week. My quads don't never cramp, but them hamstrings do. I wasn't trying to get it right, man. Nigga definitely leaning out. I need to be more lean, though, or leaner for proper English. All right, Leviticus 25, verse 3. 6 years shall you sow your field, and 6 years shall you prune your vineyard, and gather in the fruit thereof. But in the 7th year shall be a Shabbat of rest unto the land, a Shabbat for Yahuwah. You shall neither sow your field nor prune your vineyard. That which grow of its own accord of your harvest you shall not reap, neither gather the grapes of your vine undressed. It's a year of rest unto the land. Now, we talked about that already. So, praise be to Yahuwah. We got some understanding when it comes to that. And the Shabbat of the land shall be meat for you. Now, of course, Yahushua was the Shabbat of the land. Let's take a look and see how he was the Shabbat of the land. Matthew 28 and 1. Matter of fact, before I do that, let's do it like this here. Matthew 26. Let's do it like this. Matthew 26 and then John 6 and then Matthew 28. Matthew 26 and 26. Said I was 8 on my first child. I told my mom I bought a seat. I told my mom I was dying. Man, I mean, how old I was, man, when that happened. I done caught plenty of those, but I caught that one there, man. I probably about 26, 27. Shoot, man, we was out there balling good too, man. Shoot. That time at Tallahassee Road, no, I take that back, because I did get a lot of playing in with White Ad Bayless. And then Now I done hurt my body to the point that I don't even know. I ain't even confident enough to run up and down no basketball court. I need to try it though, just to see. Because that's how I maintain the leanness with the muscle mass. You know what I'm talking about? So if I could get the leanness I got right with the muscle mass I got right now, it's gonna be outstanding. I ain't gonna lie, I was thinking about what Dwight said some years ago. We was in Regency Mall, man. And that nigga told that nigga, say, boy, your chest protruding out your shirt. I said, this nigga here crazy. That's when this lady thought I played at the University of Alabama because I had an Alabama shirt on. I hate when people do that. I hate when people like, you like that team? Just because like you got to wear a hat or a shirt of a team, that means you got to like them? Who told you that? Who made that rule? I definitely don't, because I don't even watch hockey. You know what I'm talking about? But the Chicago Blackhawks hat is fire. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about? I like, you know what I mean? That's just me. That may be true. Because I don't give a damn. Because I ain't gonna lie to you. I got Gator stuff, but I like Florida State. And I had Gator stuff even when I was a teenager. Now, Michigan, though, I like Michigan. I've liked Michigan since I was a child. So if you see me with Michigan gear on, that's just not me having that on. I actually like University of Michigan football. That's no exaggeration. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, a University of Michigan football jersey that my mama ruined is the reason why no woman will ever wash my clothes as long as I breathe. No cap. I had a number 37 University of Michigan replica Jeremy Irons jersey. I think I had to go to work. I didn't wash my clothes. I told my mama, don't put my jersey in the dryer. The numbers are screen printed. If you put them in the dryer, it'll burn the numbers off. And she put it in there anyway. And I say, boy, never again will a woman in my life ever wash my clothes. I'll wash them myself. Matter of fact, that's what I had on when I caught the case that sent me to prison, man. I had an authentic Nike University of Michigan Steve Breaston jersey on. That's what I had when I went to prison. Both of these, this was 1996 and 2004. I do like the Jaguars, but before we got the Jaguars, I like the Cincinnati Bengals because of Boomer Esiason, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Chicago Bears. So did. Baseball, I always like the Braves, and then we got the Marlins, and I like the Marlins. You know what I'm talking about? Basketball, I like the Orlando Magic and the Miami Heat, because at that time, yeah, who gave it that? You know what I'm saying? Basketball was just basketball. They weren't like, oh, I like the Celtics or the Bulls. It's like, no. When we got Florida teams, nigga, that's where I'm from. So that's what I like. But them Jaguars, though, oh, that's a given, nigga. I'm from Duval County, boy. All day, every day. And I always done had a multitude of Jaguar apparel, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Because they got to know where we from. If we go out of town, nigga need to know that. We from Duval County. Give a damn where you from. You know what I'm talking about? No disrespect. You know what I'm talking about? Because, you know, people like to talk bad about Jacksonville, and we don't appreciate that. So we got to let you know, nigga, we rep that all day, every day. That's why you see people down here be talking about that Duval stuff all the time, because we be feeling disrespected. People always talking about Jacksonville this here. We be like, well, take your punk behind from down here then, nigga. Ain't nobody tell you to come down here. We hate niggas from out of town who come down here complaining. It's boring here. Well, take your boring buck back where you came from. You know what I'm talking about? For real, bro. Ain't nobody tell you to come down here. Straight up and down. We like it down here. The weather's nice. Get you some money. You know what I'm saying? You got you some beaches. There's always something to do. You may not like to do it because it ain't nigga activity. There's always thing to do, but there's plenty of money down here. Bump what you need to tell me. There's plenty of it around here. You just got to depends on what spaces you're in. You know what I'm talking about? But Matthew 26 and 26. And as they were eating, Yahoo said, oh yeah, on another note, and it's good food down here too now. If you old greedy nigga, if you like big back activity, you know what I'm talking about? You got plenty of places to get your back big. You know what I'm talking about? He say that's how you feel about Detroit. I feel you, man. Yeah, it's plenty of places. If you want, I'm talking about local restaurant too. I ain't talking about no chain restaurants now. When I say chain, I'm not saying that in a derogatory way. I ain't talking about your PF chains and cheesecake factories and stuff like that, or your fast food. I'm talking about local restaurants. Food down here fire. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I'm talking about your back get wide in the heartbeat. No lat pull downs. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up and down. Your waistline will expand, boy. Because there's spots around here, boy. Food is delicious. You understand what I'm telling you? Yeah, when that Super Bowl was down here, boy, them white folk came down here. They were like, we ain't know it was food like this here. Yeah, nigga, that's why we don't leave. Nigga, the weather fire and the food good. Leave, and we don't pay state tax. Leave. You feel like Soulja Boy when they said Drake. Leave? To go where? To California to pay taxes? Nigga, no. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, we good on that. Matthew 26:26. He said, and as they were eating, Yahushua took bread and blessed it, break it, and gave to the disciples and said, take, eat. This is my body. Come on around here to what I said I was going. Dang, I don't forget. Oh, John chapter 6. Praise you. We talked about John 6 the other day, so we're going to do it again. I'm talking about John the Goat. Boy, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. I'm talking about now they got food trucks out this hole. That make it even more expansive. You know what I'm telling you? I'm trying to think of, I ain't been around there in a little second. Nigga, Crave vegan spot, fire. You know what I'm talking about? Some people don't like Silkies. I enjoy it personally. It's fire. You know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to think of some more. Shoot, what's that place we went to in Avondale? That blue, what it called? Bluefish was good. I enjoyed it. You know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to think. We've been a lot of places. I be forgetting. You know what I'm talking about? And there might be some other places. You know what I'm saying? I know. Boop been on a wing mission. That nigga's on a wing mission right now. You know what I'm talking about? She trying to blame it on the baby, but it ain't the baby. That nigga just wants some wings. You know what I'm saying? I don't care for wings. You got to eat too many of them. Shoot, I'm a man who requires at least almost 2,000 calories a day. So 10 ain't going to do too much for me. It definitely is. You know what I'm talking about? Let's come over here to John chapter 6, verse 54. Well, verse 52. Or make it 51. Maybe 49 even better. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which come down from Shamaim, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I'm the living bread which come down from Shamaim. If any man eat of this bread, shall he live forever? And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I shall give for the life of the world. The Yahudim therefore strove among themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat? Yahushua said unto them, truly, truly, I say unto you, except you eat the son of Adam and drink his blood, you have no life in you. Whoso eat my flesh and drink my blood have eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. So let's look at this key component. He telling you he gonna give you flesh to eat. Let me hit this Matthew 28, and then we hit this Luke 24. Then we come back to Leviticus 25. Matthew 28 and 1. What does it say? In the end of the Shabbat, as it began to dawn towards the first of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the Malachim of Yahuwah descended from Shamaim and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it. And his countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow. And for fear of him, the keepers did shake and became as dead. And the Malachim answered and said unto the women, fear not you, for I know that you seek Yahushua, which was crucified. Notice that every time somebody see a Malachim, boy, the Malachim got to tell them not to be scared. Because I'm going to tell you something, man. People run their mouth, man, and you can make your mouth fry fish. But I'm here to tell you, boy, you see an angel of God, you're going to be terrified. And if anybody tell you different, that nigga lying. Because that's the trend. Look here, man. If an angel of God, this is the part of people who understand what like this here, man. A lot of people be like, Yahuwah is the Father. But if Yahuwah the Father, everybody on Mount Sinai would have died. You know what I'm talking about? They would have died, because his presence is so consuming that anything that is unclean of any sort would not be able to maintain itself in his presence. That's how Kadash the Father is. That is how esteemed and great he is, because he can't fool with no evil in no shape, form, or fashion. He will consume it. It is an abomination to him. See, we don't even realize the grace and mercy of the Father by the fact that he created Yahuwah to create us so that Yahuwah could deal with us versus him, because we would not be able to maintain. That's why the Lamb was slain from the foundation of the world. Before the world was even created, he had already offered his son for the love of the creation, that he would work through his son. Then his son, because when we look at the definition of Yahusha, what does it mean? What does Yahusha mean? What does it mean? Huh? Yahuwah, salvation, or Yahuwah is salvation, right? That's what it means, right? Now, is this Yahuwah him? So is Yahusha Yahuwah, or is Yahuwah, or is this person just Yahuwah? Because if it means Yahuwah is salvation, that means that Yahusha would have to be you. That means that would have, because that would be something that is singular possessive to this person. If we believe that that's what that means in its entirety, translating it out. I'm not a linguistics expert. You know what I'm talking about? But generally, that's accepted. That's what Yahusha means, right? Yahuwah is salvation, or Yahuwah salvation. Some people don't put the is on there. It depends on who you talk to. You know what I'm talking about? So if Yahuwah is salvation, then Yahuwah came to save man. Remember what Psalms 82:6 say? He said, you are what? Gods, right? And all you are what? Sons of the Most High, but you'll die like Adam. That's what it said. You'll die like Adam. So even though you were son of God, you'll die like Adam. See, we don't want. Let's just leave that. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Brother Langford mentioning Emmanuel, which is Elohim is with us. So some people look at Emmanuel as this, that, but boy, that man name mean God with us. So remember it said they saw the God of Israel, but didn't give a name. Just said they saw the Elohim of Yasharal, and in Exodus, ain't that what it said? Who did they see? Because remember I told you, man, dudes was arguing about the angel, the presence, that was Yahusha. You know, we like to say Yahusha was the angel that Abraham sat with. That didn't say that. Why would Yahusha sit with Abraham? That was just an angel. That's what it said. He said, that's why it's so crazy. They saw the works and didn't believe. Absolutely. No, they like to say the angel that brought him out the wilderness, when he literally said this angel can't pardon sin, and then Mashiach came around and said he got power to forgive sin. Angels can't forgive sin. You know why? Because that's not what they were created for. Who's the only person who can pardon sin? God himself. And then you got Exodus 34 where it say Yahuwah forgives sin and iniquity. And then Yahushua come around in Matthew 9 and say your sins are forgiven you. And then people's like, oh, this man is tripping. He talking about he forgiving sins? Who he think he is? Only God can do that. And we still sitting here arguing in 2023, and you ain't picked up on that point. Can't no flesh and blood man who came out no man's penis forgive no sin, boy. Not when your law say the only person who can do it is Yahuwah. That's what your law say. That's not what I say. Your law, he proclaimed he forgives sins as that is his name. That's why I be tripping on people when they say grace and mercy in the New Testament. No, it's not. Grace and mercy been since the foundation of the world. That's who Yahuwah is. You just show that you don't know him. That's why I always reiterate and repeat to y'all Exodus 34 over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, so you can understand who this man is. He is Yahuwah Elohim, merciful, gracious, abundant in goodness and truth and long suffering, forgiving sin and iniquity. That is who he is. Grace and mercy and forgiveness is with your maker. That is who he is. He is not his law. He is grace and mercy, goodness and truth, long suffering and forgiveness. That is who he is. That's why the Apostle John could write and say Elohim is love, because all those things mentioned on who he is love. It's right there in your law. Amen. It's right there in your law. Why do you think John can say Elohim is love? Because Yahuwah told you he was love and we missed it. You know why we missed it? because you don't see grace and mercy and long suffering and goodness and truth and forgiveness as love when it's the epitome of it. It's the epitome of it. It's the whole entire epitome of it. And that's what I mean on we don't love God, because you can't see love in the text. So when Mashiach come and saying Elohim so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, you're literally seeing the very love that was expressed in Exodus, and you don't think that's Yahuwah? Because did he not come with grace and mercy? Did he not come with long suffering? Did he not come with forgiveness? Did he not come with goodness and truth? And you think that's somebody else? That's the very man who proclaimed his name. And you know what? He took it a step further. I proclaimed it to Moses. I showed it to you in the flesh. That's what he did. So I told you love. I showed you love through the workings of man. And then I took it a step further and became a man and showed it to your face. That's how you know we going to hell. Because you had love in your face and you killed it. Showing that you despise love, that you reject love. All the while talking about niggas don't show no love. Well, when you had love, you despised it. Because you despised your maker. God forbid any of us travel down that road. Do you understand how beautiful that is, man? Your maker said, can't nobody love you like I love you. So I'm going to come in here through the personage and being born of a woman and come down here and love you to your face. I'm going to come down here and buy you back from sin. Who else can buy you back from sin but God? Man can't do it. God got to do it. He says you sold yourself for nothing, but you'll be bought. You'll be redeemed without money. I'm going to come buy you back. Only I can reconcile you from death. Man can't eliminate death. Only God can. That's how you know Joseph ain't put his penis in Mary and ejaculated in her to produce this man. No. Elohim had to come down here and do a special work. Praise be to Abba in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. He had to come down here and do a special work, a work that only he could complete. That's why I be tribute to him. Can't no man die for your sins. Okay, well, just know you dying and going to hell. Because you think it's about the sins you personally commit when he came to die for the sin that caused you to go to the grave in the first place. That's what he came down here to die for. I just told you, I just heard dude talking about this the other day. It's sad that we study the text all day and don't nobody know that Matthew 1 genealogy is to link Mashiach to Abraham and David, and Luke chapter 3 genealogy is to link him to Adam, so that you can see how the seed of David will sit on the throne, how he'll fulfill his covenant with Abraham, and how he can redeem you from the sin of Adam. Because you wanted to be carnal. You wanted to be about Joseph and Mary because you're not thinking about Yahuwah. This ain't even hard to ascertain why the genealogy is different, because it's dealing with two different things, son. Who did he make a covenant to? Did he make a covenant with Abraham? Did he make a covenant with David? What did he make these covenants with them for? He made a covenant with Abraham because he said, in you shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Through your seed, not seeds of many, but seeds of one, that seed being the Mashiach. Okay, well, what's the covenant with David? I swore by David that the fruit of his loins would sit upon my throne. So he got to have a genealogy to link this man to them. But when it comes to this other one, and it end with Adam, and of course, for those of you who don't know, all you got to do is go look in 1 Chronicles chapter 5, and you'll see the genealogy in Matthew. All you need to go do is look in Genesis chapter 5, you see the genealogy in Luke. This is what I mean by these people are unskilled with the word, that they can't even link this up to tell you why they in there. You got to be linked back to Adam, because everybody dies because of Adam. So Elohim say, let me link me back to Adam so that I can redeem you from the curse of Adam. Because what is the curse of Adam? Dust you were taken from, and dust you shall return. So I'm coming to reverse that curse by becoming that curse to set you free. And we around here running our mouth, arguing, fussing, and fighting, and you missed the point, and we going to hell. And get what? The people who teaching us, they don't care. They don't even care. They just got us fussing, fighting, and arguing, and you still the same person you was before you picked up the book. How can you deal with a word that is supposed to be transformative of character and it's not transforming you? So that means this is indicative of two things. Either you don't want to be transformed, or the information we getting is not coming from Elohim to transform us. Because if it's coming from Elohim, there will be a change. You will either change or you'll walk away. You're not going to walk with it and play with it. That word's supposed to come and you're supposed to change. And when I say change, I'm talking about growth. I'm talking about going from death to life. I'm talking about going from unclean to clean. I'm talking about going from unkadash to kadash. I'm talking about going from unrighteous to righteous. I'm talking about going from eyes closed to eyes open. I'm talking about going from being faithless to faithful. I'm talking about going from hatred to love, from unbelief to faith, from sadness to joy. You know what I'm talking about? From undisciplined to discipline, from unwise to wise, from foolish to understanding. You're supposed to be in conformity to the image of Elohim so that you, when he look at you, he see himself. The same way you pick up your son and you look in his face and you see your face looking back to you like it's like you alive twice at the same time. That's how it's supposed to be, man, when we dealing with the word, man. The father's supposed to look down from heaven. Yahushua's supposed to look down from heaven sitting next to his father, and they look at us and they see themselves. Look at my son. He looked just like me. He's my spitting image. Yeah, we're not moving towards that. So then you got to ask yourself, why are these niggas not teaching us this? Where I said I was going at? I said Matthew 28. It was something else. I can't even. Nevertheless, let's come back over. Hold on. He said, I was in Israel in 2015 on the Feast of Tabernacles and saw smoke rising and slow, and people started running, and I ran too and pondered it for years. I don't think I would run next time. No, I understand. I don't understand. Because let's be honest, right? If we were ever in the presence of Yahuwah, you would be scared. And I want you to know that it wouldn't be no shame in that. That man said he's an awesome and a terrible. Because most of us have never experienced the presence of Elohim, we don't understand how dreadful that is. It's going to feel like your heart going to drop in your chest. You know what I'm talking about? It's going to be like you paralyzed. It's going to be like you want to talk, but ain't no words going to come out your mouth. I'm telling you. And I ain't even telling you something that somebody told me. You know what I'm talking about? I'm telling you, man, it's different. It's different. It's different. It's a different experience. It's a different experience. You know what I'm talking about? So ain't no shame in that. Ain't no shame in that. Yes, it is. He said a question about John 14 and 12. What was the greater works of Mashiach was referring to exactly? I seen on Jesse Lee, he was asking or posing that question. And Johnny go say, you most definitely be scared. I mean, when you're dealing with greater works, just greater miracles than the miracles that he performed. You know what I'm talking about? So he was telling his apostles, you'll perform miracles that are greater than the miracles that I did. And they give some examples of that in Acts on some of the things that they accomplished. You know what I'm saying? That's really what it is. That's like when he told them, signs and wonders will follow you. You'll be bitten by serpents and won't die. Things like that. You know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to remember. I said Matthew 28. It was Luke 24. Praise the Lord. Come over here to Luke 24. Luke 24, 28. I'll read 27 one more time. And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded unto them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. They drew near unto the village whither they went, and he made as though he would have gone further. But they constrained him, saying, Abide with us, for it is towards evening, and the day is far spent. And they went in to tarry with him. And it came to pass, as he sat at meat, he took bread and brake and gave to them. And their eyes were opened, and they knew him. And he vanished out of their sight. And they said one to another, did not our hearts burn within us while he talked with us by the way, while he opened the scriptures? Now, we've talked about this before. He gave him bread, but he gave him that living bread because it said their eyes were open and they knew him. Once he had sat down and manifested that book to them and gave them bread to eat, that's when they ate the Sabbath, the meat of the Sabbath of the land. You know what I'm talking about? See, even right now, you're able to eat the meat of the Sabbath of the land in Jubilee for reconciliation because the land is at rest and the land has produced meat for you. Yeah, man. You know what I'm talking about? Let's come back to Leviticus 25. Because remember, Jubilee coincides with atonement. The setting free of the bondman coincides with reconciliation. Do you see the beauty of the work of Yahuwah with that? Because Jubilee is about setting free of debt. And he that commits sin is the servant of sin. You know what I'm talking about? And the servant abide not in the house forever. A bondman can't abide in the house of Elohim. So while we in sin, we can't abide in this house. So he said, I'm going to do two things for you, man. I'm going to have Jubilee coincide with atonement because that's purging and reconciliation to set you free. That's why I tell you, man, a lot of these dudes, man, it's historical, it's cultural. And it is to an extent, but it's more so the salvation of Elohim. Look and pay attention. See, even in looking at the law of Jubilee, we miss the love of God in it. So let me tell you something, man. I'm going to be dead 100% honest with you. If you're looking for the love of Yahuwah, you'll find it in this book. I promise you will. Because it's in every line and every verse. It'll be right in your face. The love of Yahuwah be in places in this law that you don't even think it's at. Because he's showing you this is how much I love with that which I created. But you worry about being a Christian. You worry about trying to be a scholar instead of being a son of Elohim. What's greater, a scholar or a son of Elohim? Son of Elohim get an inheritance. Son of Elohim live forever. Most importantly, the son of Elohim get the tabernacle with Elohim and Yahushua forever. What does a scholar get? None but fire and worms. Because in his scholastic endeavors, his heart going to be too hard to become a heart of flesh that he might wreck them fleshly tables of stone right on his heart, that he might live. He going to be too lifted up in his arrogance of his intelligence. In his studying, we study so much that you studied right past Yahuwah because you ain't studied. I told them brothers did this morning, man. I said, let me tell you something, right? Like I said, I wasn't raised in none of that. And what I told them, what I told y'all earlier, I said, man, I started training in 2007. I don't train for my old lady. I was training before I knew her. You know what I'm saying? I had a desire to hustle and get money before I knew her. I had a particular type of work ethic before I knew her. So I'm not doing that for her. I was serving you before I knew this woman existed on the earth. That wasn't my motivation. So I'm saying, so I'm telling them, as I get in the word and I begin to see the character of who Yahuwah is, I said, oh, yeah, I got to rock with him. He 100. When I say 100, this is an honorable, just, upright individual. And the principles and conduct of which he stands for, I agree with. And matter of fact, I deem them to be honorable as he does. So my motivation is not that I go, oh, I don't want to go to hell. My motivation, because me and Kobe talking about this, my motivation ain't even to get the reward. Though I have respect to the recompense of the reward, my motivation is to be with him because I desire him, because I delight in who he is. And you know why I delight in who he is? Because I set my mind to understand who he is. I didn't set my mind to, oh, let me learn these laws. Let me learn my history. Let me learn. I didn't know. No, that's not what I did. That's not the mind he gave me, I should say. He gave me a mind to seek and understand him. Not to teach it to nobody else. That's not what I was doing. Amen, man. That's not what I was doing. Nigga, I was Dolo. I was seeking to understand and know him for who he is. And when he allowed me to understand and know him for who he is, I said, I'm locked in with you, man. I can't go nowhere. It's too thorough over here, man. And people not seeking. That's why you don't see his love in the text. That's why you don't see his grace and mercy in the text. That's why you don't see his love and kindness and compassion in the text, because you're not seeking him. You seeking what you can get from him. You seeking how you can esteem yourself according to your flesh, so you gonna miss him. I thank the Father in heaven every day in the name of Yahushua that he didn't allow that to happen, because he could have let me be just as stupid as these niggas I see and hear every day. Yeah, man. You gotta realize that, man. When you went after Yahuwah, was you seeking to know and understand? Ain't that what he said in Isaiah 40? There's no seeking of my understanding. Who know and understand me? That's what he said. Who's seeking that? Because I promise to you, man, Yahuwah is my witness. If you seeking to understand and know him, you will see him. You will see him. If he see fit, he will show himself to you. You will see him. You'll see him. And not only y'all willing, you'll see him manifested in his word. Y'all willing, you'll see him on that last day with your eyes and not another. You know what I'm talking about? Come on, man. Let's finish this. Matter of fact, since I said it, I don't need no excuse. Come on to Job 19:25. You know what, though? You may have been in church your whole life and didn't know him, but let me not say but. Nevertheless, you may have knew him better than you thought you did, because when he presented himself, you saw him. So you may have thought you didn't know him, but you heard his voice. So you may have knew him a little better than you give yourself credit for. You know what I'm saying? Because I do personally believe a lot of people who are in the church, they may not be in the church necessarily because you know, a lot of brews. I don't really have no thoughts on church people, man. You know what I'm talking about? I really be having thoughts on the aspect of most people who go to church, man, in general, they want to know the word. They want to know Yahuwah. You know what I'm talking about? And the aspect is, of course, as forth is the sinning part. You don't get to see him and know him, but he already has searched and known the hearts of men, so he know who want to know him and who don't. He know who's seeking him and who ain't, irregardless of what they involved with. So when the day that he shows himself to you, you'll see him for who he is and you'll go after him. And I am a sincere and ardent believer of such a thing, because I'm speaking that from my own personal experience, because I was not seeking him. I most definitely didn't know him. You know what I'm talking about? But when he showed himself, I knew it was him. And I knew that was his voice. I knew it was him. There was no doubt in my mind. It was unequivocal. There was no way that anybody was going to be able to tell me that wasn't Yahuwah. I knew that was him. And I never looked for him a day in my life. You know what I'm talking about? Straight up and down. I never looked for him a day in my life. I knew it was him when he showed up, though. So just because you may have been in a situation in the church and you might have felt like you didn't know him, if you heard his voice, if you heard that call, you knew him better than you thought you did. Because when you don't know him, you won't even hear his voice when he called. You know what I'm talking about? You won't even hear his voice when he called. You'll keep on walking. Remember what he said, we've piped and danced to you and you have not lamented. Let me read that real quick. Where I was going at, I don't even remember. Oh, I was going to Job 19. But let me get to Matthew 11, then I go to Job 19. Matthew 11 and 16. He said, but whereunto shall I liken this generation? It is like unto children sitting in the markets and calling unto their fellows, saying, we have piped unto you, and you have not danced. And we have mourned unto you, and you have not lamented. See, a lot of people, when that word came, they didn't dance. And they didn't cry. But with y'all, by the esteem, mercy, and grace of the living Elohim, when he piped, you danced. And when he lamented, you cried. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, that is. Some people, they heard that and kept on walking. Didn't mean nothing to them. Job 19 and 25. That's why I always tell you, man, just sit back and give thanks for you who are even giving you a mind to seek him, to acknowledge him, to hear his voice, to see his visage through the manifestation of his word. You got to realize he gave you that heart. He gave you that. Man didn't give you that. Your Father in heaven through Yahushua HaMashiach gave you that, because I definitely didn't give it to you, because I definitely didn't give it to myself. You know what I'm saying? This is why I always reference this to y'all. Not is this any manner of righteousness on my behalf, but evidence and proof that Yahuwah is real, because you are literally looking at someone who never dealt with the word of Yahuwah in any capacity for the first 28 years of their existence at all. Had no thought, no mind, no nothing to seek no word. I'm talking about coming home from doing 4.5 years in the penitentiary, and I ain't think about let me get into church. Let me come home and read some Bible. No, that was not the case. And I'm continuing to tell you, and my mama and my sister, they can bear witness to this. You know what I'm saying? See, my other sister can bear witness to it, but only because this person only, and I say this because she close to my family. This person can only bear witness to this from the time period that she knew me while I was in prison till I got out, because she didn't know me before I went to prison. But my mama and sister can tell you. You know what I'm talking about? I wasn't on that. My homeboys, they can tell you that I was not on that at all. That was not a part of my conversation. That was not a part of my mindset. That wasn't a part of nothing I had going on in life, nor was it anything that I was consciously desiring to seek. So to be here almost 15 years later, and this is what we doing, that is evidence of the grace and mercy of Yahuwah. If you can't see nothing else as it pertains to that, because a lot of y'all, this was what y'all was doing anyway. A lot of y'all were going to church or reading the word or wanted to know God and wanted to know them things. And he just rewarded you according to the diligence that he found in your heart of what you were doing anyway. I was not. You know what I'm talking about? I was not. In no shape, form, or fashion. If you would have came to me and talking about let's go to church, I'd have been like, nigga, no. And I wouldn't have cared who it was. I wouldn't have cared if it's a woman who liked me. I like you. I want you to come to church with me. Nigga, no. If my mama would have asked, nigga, no. I'm not going. I'm not going up in there. Going there for what? I don't believe these people, and I'm not finna live. I don't even know nothing. I don't even understand this. Why am I gonna pick up something and do something I don't even understand, and I don't even believe the nigga who teaching it understand it? What am I sitting here for? Lying to myself to make myself feel better? I'm not that type of man. I'm not doing that. I'm not sitting in here. I'm not coming in here. I'm not doing that. I'm not. I was not on that. You invite me to church, it would have been a nigga no. I'm not going. For what? Nigga, I sell drugs, bro. How am I going to sit here in this house talking about, yeah, praise God, and then I'm finna go sell crack when I leave here? Come on, man. I ain't that type of dude. I'm not finna do that. I'm not finna do that. I'm just not finna do that. It doesn't make any sense to do that, because that means you're not about what you're talking about. But see, by the grace and mercy of Elohim, me coming home from prison, not even thinking, because I already had told myself I sleep under I-95 before I sell Nano the rock, because I'm not going back to prison. Absolutely not. I'm not going back to prison. I'm not going back in here to be with these dudes. I refuse. You know what I'm talking about? I refuse. For real, bro, that's what it would nigga know. I'm not doing that. See, the difference between me and some people, y'all are beat around the bush with stuff. I'm going to be very direct. I'm not going. No, I'm not doing that. Ain't no sense of lying to you, being passive aggressive about it. Nigga, no. Going here for what? Let me tell you something, man. I never read the Bible on the street unless it was in conjunction with another book I was reading. I never picked up a Bible at 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, especially when I'm knee-deep selling crack. What am I picking up a Bible for? Nigga, you carrying cocaine and pistols. What you doing that for? Now you go to jail. I need to get in this word. Get in this word for what? I'm finna get back out and sell some more dope as soon as I make bond. I'm not going to jail and I need to find Jesus. Come on, man. What I'm doing that for? Oh, you want to pick up the Bible? You think this is going to get you out of the consequences of your actions? See, that's what I say when I get in the word and I see he by no means clear the guilty. I say, okay, yeah, they 100. Yeah, you did it. I can forgive you, but you got to be punished for it. I respect it. That's how you instruct a child. That's what I say when he showed himself and then he gave me the mind to seek and understand him, and I seen who he is and what he is about. I respect it, because that's the way a man should be reared. That's how a man should teach his son. Some of these were elements that I was taught as a child. I respect it. I ain't got no choice but to roll with it. To not roll with it to a certain extent would be rejecting the things that I was taught as a child. that I held dear to before even knowing the word. Oh, yeah, no, shoot, I feel you, man. Yeah, it's definitely nigga, no. I know a lot of dudes done went to church because they were trying to get some yams. I ain't going to church to get no yams. I ain't going to church to impress no broad. For what? Either you're going to give me the yams or you ain't. I ain't finna go to church to do it. I ain't finna fake holy to get some coochie. That's insane. And I was shocked that niggas do that. Are you that lame, sir? I'm not going to church to get no buns, bro. I'm not finna do this here to impede this woman, man. Where does it stop? Now she got you going to church. Next thing you know, she'll have you putting eyeliner on, painting your fingernails, all for some yams. Where does it stop? Nigga, be a man. If that's not what you own, then don't do it. Stop doing stuff to get some coochie, man. You know how weak that is, bro? I'm tired of hearing men say that and do that, man. Stop compromising your manhood for some pleasure. That's not what men do. That's not what men do. Then when I get in the word and I see that, I'm like, oh yeah, this man he too thorough, bro. I gotta ride with him. He too thorough. I ain't got no problem with nothing he stand for. I ain't got no problem with nothing he's ever. I ain't got no problem with nothing. I agree with everything you who are on to the utmost. Everything. I ain't got no conflictions. Nothing. I agree with all that. Every bit of it. I'm talking about I don't disagree with nothing. I'm talking about you who is my witness before whom I stand. I don't disagree with nothing. I'm talking about, I remember a dude talking about, you think that's right? He killed them kids with them she-bears? Damn sure do. They ought to watch their mouth. How could you say that? If they wasn't running their mouth, they wouldn't have got ate up by them bears. They show you to learn how to respect your elders and shut your mouth. You know what I'm talking about? Man, that ain't right. It ain't wrong either, nigga. Because you don't want to, them just kids. It didn't mean they were just kids. It said they were used. Nigga, they could have been in their late teens. They could have been in their 20s. There wasn't no 7 and 8 year olds. The problem is you a disrespectful, rude bastard and you talk slick to the wrong person and it costs you. It happened on these streets every day. But you think you can say what you want with no consequences. I ain't got no problem with it. I ain't got no problem with it. That man owned what he owned. I ain't got no problem with nothing, bro. I ain't got no problem with nothing. And I ain't just saying that because we talking right now. I'm saying that because for almost 15 years of being in this word, I ain't got a problem with nothing that he stands for. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Not one thing. It's nothing I looked at and say, I don't agree with that. I ain't had no problem with none of it. Not one word. Not one word. I agree with all of it. It's just. It's nothing I can say. That's how I was taught to be. They say I'm hard, but I'm fair. I look at the word, he hard, but he fair. It's fair. It's just. It's just. What can you say? What you gonna speak against? What would you have the intestinal and testicular fortitude to step to you who and say, I don't agree with this. I don't think you should do this. You just running your mouth. You got a problem with it because you want to do it. There's nothing this man say not to do that I want to do. Yeah, I don't want to do any of this stuff. I'd rather do the things that he find pleasing. That's more pleasurable to me. The flesh don't pleasure me. It doesn't please me. I don't seek to satisfy it. Satisfy it for what? You got dude talking about smoking reefer. You ain't smoking reefer because that's a spiritual experience. You smoking reefer because you like weed. It's okay to say that. I like weed for 18 years. And for Yahuwah's sake, I put it down because I delight in Yahuwah more than I delighted in that weed. Nigga be looking at weed spiritual. Get the hell out of here. Nigga, I smoked weed for 20 years. It was no spiritual experience in it whatsoever. It slowed down my nervous system. That's what it did. It's a depressant. That's right. He too just. Look here, man. I ain't never had no spiritual. You talking about a spiritual experience on weed? You seeing unclean spirits, boy. That ain't Yahuwah you experiencing. You think Yahuwah needs you on marijuana for him to experience you? Are you insane? Now, I want to be clear now. I ain't speaking against nobody who say they use marijuana for medicinal purposes. That's your business. If you got some type of physical malady and marijuana helps comfort and ease that pain, I ain't got no problem with you. I'm talking about recreationally because you're talking to a pot head. You understand me? I'm talking about real deal, live stoner. For 18 years, an unadulterated real deal stoner. So if anybody would want to come up with a way to justify smoking marijuana, it would have been me because I thoroughly enjoyed smoking marijuana for the sport of it. Straight up and down. Ounce a day minimum. Let's smoke. Never needed a reason to smoke. I could have just smoked the blunt. You walk up, well, you want to smoke? Give me an excuse to smoke another one. I ain't even care. I ain't even trying to entice you to smoke. I'm just looking for a reason in my mind to smoke another one. Because that's just what I wanted to do. But that was pleasing me. That was for the flesh. That's not for the root. That's not for the inward man. How does that benefit the inward man? I never was a drinker. Because with alcohol, I'm like, I don't have control over my faculties. And why would I want to deal with something that would cause me to not be lucid and lose control over my faculties? That didn't make sense. I want to be in control of myself. I don't want to use something that'll cause me to have now I can't control myself. I didn't see the appeal. You know what I'm talking about? Marijuana never caused me to lose control of myself. And I had no desire to use any harder drugs. I'm not snorting no cocaine. I'm not shooting no heroin. I don't want no ecstasy. What I want all that for? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to deal with all that. All of these things pertain to the flesh because that's what the flesh craves. The ruach only crave Yahuwah. That's how you know you don't need them things. Because if you craving Yahuwah, you don't need nothing but his presence. And if you need weed to get in his presence, that means your faith ain't strong enough. Because weed ain't going to get you there. We spend a whole bunch of money to be sleepy. What kind of crap is that? You can get heroin for that if you want to be sleepy. They both do the same thing to the nervous system. The only difference is one is more highly addictive than the other. Yeah, we don't need that crap, man. But Yahuwah is not enough for us. That's why we want all this external things, because Yahuwah is not enough. Ask yourself this question. If you got Yahuwah, what you lacking? See, when you go to talking about what you lacking, it's only going to be natural things that appeal to your flesh or appeal to your carnal desires. But ask yourself this question. If you got Yahuwah, what would you actually be lacking? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Because if you got Yahuwah, what you don't got? You got Yahuwah, man. What's better than that? Nevertheless, let's get this Job 19:25, because you know we don't need no excuse. For I know that my Redeemer live, and that he shall stand at the latter day upon the earth. And though after my skin worms destroy this body, yet in my flesh shall I see Elohim, whom I shall see for myself, and my eyes shall behold, and not another, though my reins be consumed within me. You better know it. I stand on Job 19:25-27 with every ounce of my soul. Y'all already know, man, when I first got in the word to Job 19:25 and out of Isaiah 26:3, I was locked in, boy. Trust in Yahuwah. He keep you in perfect shalom, whose mind is stayed on you because he trusts in you. Trust in Yahuwah, for trust in Yahuwah is everlasting strength. Well, I was locked in, boy. I was locked in. Well, I thank Yahuwah for that, man. I wasn't tainted by nothing niggas on the internet were talking about, man. I was strictly seeking his face and his face alone, man. I ain't want to learn no doctrine. I just wanted to learn him. And in learning him, I was able to see him. And then according to his mercy, he allowed me to be able to share with others so they can see him, so they could have the same experience that I have had, that esteem and praise might redound to his name. And I stand on that. And I really don't give two flying Londons what damn nigga think about what I'm talking about. I don't give a damn, nigga. This is what I standing on, nigga. Run your mouth all you want, nigga. You can make your mouth fry fish. You can call me what you want, but you're not going to call me late for dinner, nigga, because we're going to sit in this man kingdom and we're going to celebrate. I don't know where you going to be at. But I know with every ounce of strength in my body, boy, I must needs be at that table. You understand me? Yeah, Leviticus 25. Where we start at? Verse 6. We got to get ready to get up off here, man. It's 10:41. I'll give you about another 15, 20. And the Shabbat of the land shall be meat for you, and for your servant, and for your maid, and for your hired servant, and for your stranger that sojourn with you. See, and again, that's taken to the case in point of what we're talking about. Remember, he say, preach this gospel to all nations. See, that meat that came out on the Shabbat, that meat that came up out that cave, you understand what I'm talking about? That was for everybody, boy. That's for everybody to partake and dine in, so you can live, man. So you can be reconciled, so you can be set free from the bondage that you sold yourself into. Because at the end of the day, you sold yourself into bondage. Nobody put you in bondage. You sold yourself. Every lie you told, you locked yourself up. Every idol you had in your heart, you locked yourself up. Every bit of pride, every bit of arrogance, every bit of selfishness, every bit of contention, every lascivious thought, every act of fornication, every move of adultery, every blasphemous thought, every evil eye, you put yourself in jail. And that man came and set you free. And you trying to go back to jail? Let me tell you something, man. And I say this here, prayerfully, most of y'all never been to jail. God forbid you've been to prison. Do you know how stupid of a nigga you got to be to keep going back and forth to jail, man? Do you know how many dudes I grew up with, man? Man, I got a homeboy right now doing 15 years in the feds, man. This man ain't been out 5 years continually since he was 14 years old. And when I say 14 years old, I'm talking about since 1995. It's 2023. This man ain't been out 5 years continually since he was 14, 15 years old. Just steady going back to jail, steady going back to jail, steady going back to jail, steady going back to prison. Committing sin and staying in sin is the equivalent to going in and out of prison. Because every time you do it, you sending yourself back to jail. And eventually, he gonna give the same way these white, well, at least in California, they don't do it here. The same way in California, 3 strikes law, and you get a natural life sentence, eventually he gonna do you the same way. He gonna cut you off and ain't gonna be no repentance for you. You're gonna have to do this elbow. Yeah. See, you look at man and think that ain't right. They be locking people up like that. You a habitual offender. You're a career criminal. It has to come a certain point with the word. That man gonna look at you and say, "Oh, he's a career criminal. We gotta lock him up for life." Done with him. I'm wasting time on him. I'm tired of you coming in my courtroom. Who would do the same thing? That man get tired of seeing you. Because you know why we like that? Because guess what we get taught? God forgive me. And you think that's cool. But then you turn around the same breath, the realest apology is change behavior. But you don't do it with Yahuwah, though. You'll look another person in the face and say, your apology don't mean nothing if you don't change your behavior, but you do your God like that and think he's supposed to accept it. You see how hypocritical we are, man? We ain't worthy of this man mercy, yet he extended it. Why you don't appreciate it? I do, because I know I ought to be in prison for way longer than what I was in prison for. You know what I'm talking about? I could have easily been in there for 12. Hell, I could have been in there for a dub. You know, you understand that this man would have gave me 20 years, I'd just be getting out, or would have got out a couple of years ago. Man, shoot. Nigga crazy as hell. Verse 7, man. And for your cattle and for the beasts that are in your land shall all the increase thereof be meat. And you shall number 7 Shabbats of years unto you, 7 times 7 years of the space of 7 Shabbat of years shall be unto you 49 years. And you shall cause the trumpet of Jubilee to sound on the 10th of the 7th month, and the day of atonement. You shall make the trumpet sound throughout all your land. You shall hallow the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee unto you, and you shall return every man unto his possession, and you shall return every man unto his family. Now, I just want you to pause for a minute, right? I think we talked about this when we ran across it the first time, but you know we have to do the reiteration because we ain't slid around here yet. I just want to talk about liberty. Of course, you know 2 Corinthians 3 and 17 tell you where the ruach of the Lord is, there's liberty. And when we turn around and we look at what is it to have liberty, what is it to have this freedom? You know, it is deror, liberty, pure, outflow, freedom. That's why he say, if the truth shall set you free, you shall be free indeed. Because you don't realize that when he's making that statement, it's liberty, it's freedom. What are you free from? Let's look at John 8 and 29 real quick. Let's look at that real quick. Let's just ponder upon it if we would. John 8 and 31. Well, shoot, I'll read 20. It ain't gonna hurt nobody. Then said Yahushua unto them, when you have lifted up the son of Adam, then you shall know that I am, and that I do nothing of myself, but as my Abba have taught me, I speak these things. And he that sent me is with me. Abba have not left me alone, for I do always those things that please him. Remember when we were talking about how Adam is the firstborn from the dead? in accordance to what Paul wrote? And remember what we discussed on Wednesday about him dying for his wife? Now, in the text, who did it say Luke? In Luke, who did it say that Adam was in the image of? Elohim, right? And who taught Adam? Elohim, right? And Elohim is what? As we discussed on Wednesday, he is love, correct? Didn't Yahushua say whatever the Father do, the Son do likewise? So if Elohim is love and Adam is his son, and he taught Adam, I don't know why it's so hard for people to understand why Adam would die for his wife, because his father was love and he made man upright. He wouldn't do nothing but what he seen his father do, and that's show love. Now, in showing that love, he became sin who knew no sin, and that's why Hamashiach come through later to fulfill that which is written, because remember, he said starting at the law of Moses, he expounded on all the scriptures concerning himself. These men, just like it said in Acts 13, they come in the Shabbat in the synagogue, on every Shabbat, fulfilling the scriptures and condemning them because they didn't know him when they saw him. When now, even in quote unquote 2023, we reading about Adam, you reading about Eve, you reading about Noah, you reading about Joseph. You reading about these people and you don't realize that's Yahuwah. They were doing what he was coming to do. When Joseph said, you thought of evil upon me, but in the end, it was to save many souls alive. We don't even catch that because you don't love God, so you're not going to see the love of God. Like I told them, boy, we were talking about this earlier this week. Y'all want to get in a gender war, arguing about the woman is this and the man is that, because you can't see the love of God because the love of God ain't in you. You know what I'm talking about? It's not in you, because when you would see it, you'd be like, whoa. He really did show forth the love that Elohim was coming to show us later. Praise be to Yahuwah. That's where your mind would go when you see the love. You see it. It'll stand out to you so strong. There's no other way that you would even understand that anything else other than that was love. Because to die for somebody is love. I don't care what nan niggas say. To sacrifice your life when you don't have to, what do you call that? When you see husbands, love your wives as Hamashiach loved his and gave his life for it. This man literally gave his life for Eve. You know why it'd be considered? He said, man, a righteous man wouldn't even dare to die. Remember, he said he made man upright. That man dared to die for his wife. But you'll sit here and boast and brag about how Yahushua died for us, though. But why you can't see Adam doing the same? Well, he was wrong, and we was wrong. Yet this man who did nothing wrong laid his life down for you, and you don't appreciate it. You don't appreciate it because you can't see the love of Elohim. You didn't see the grace and mercy in that. You didn't see the compassion in that because it's not in you, because you weren't seeking him. When you seeking him and you see that in the text and you're guarding that word in your lab, then you will manifest that unto others. Remember, how did it describe David? How did the book describe David? He said David was a what? Man after his own heart. That means that David was a man after the mind of Yahuwah. How do you think David was a man after the mind of Yahuwah? Because he guarded this man's word in his heart. So even when his enemy of Saul was seeking to kill him, he showed mercy to him who didn't deserve no mercy. He forgave and spared the life of a man who didn't deserve to be spared. When the people was arguing about the stuff, he divvied it up justly because his mind was after Elohim. So because the word was in him, he produced the fruit thereof. It was manifested in his actions because the word was in him. So since the word is in him, he can produce what the word is. See, we know word, but it ain't in us. So then we're not actually producing it. What good of something if it don't produce the desired result? What's the good of knowing how to lift weights, but you don't gain no muscle? What's the good of knowing how to eat healthy, but you eat unhealthy? What's the good of having information, but you don't use it to bring forth the desired result? That's retarded. You went full retard. Why would you do that? You're supposed to take the information to actually produce the outcome that the information is supposed to produce. The word of Yahuwah is supposed to produce love, faith, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, meekness, and self-control. The literal exhibition of the Ruach of Elohim as expressed in Exodus 34:7. You literally supposed to produce him. That's why he called it the seed. That's why he said, he that is born of Elohim don't commit sin. He cannot sin. His seed remain in him. The word is in him. So he's going to produce what the word will produce. We know word, but we're not producing word. And that is dangerous for ourselves, not for others, for ourselves. If you're not getting out of the word what you're supposed to get out of the word, what's the point? You might well go live your life, man, eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. You might well go live your life, do what you want. Remember what he told them in Matthew? He said, in vain do they worship me, teaching for the doctrines and commandments of men. See, we think that's just pertaining to Christians or Hebrew doctrines that we don't agree with. We can still be serving this man in vain because we got bad information that don't produce the word. It's worthless. If you haven't produced mercy since being in the word, what have you? Let's put mercy to the side. If you ain't produced the love of Elohim and the love of your neighbor and the faith of Elohim and the joy of Elohim, because the faith and joy of Elohim is your strength, what have you been doing? If you haven't produced meekness, if you haven't produced self-control, you mean you can't even govern yourself? You don't have the discipline to restrict yourself from things that are contrary to the will of God? What are you doing? That means this word ain't even benefiting you. That means you would need to pause and say, what I got going on? Because this is not how it's supposed to be. I done told niggas for years, I don't care nothing about winning no debate, nigga. I don't debate. And I ain't no scholar. You know what I'm talking about? I'm just a preacher. I'm just a regular nigga from Duval County, Zone 3 to be exact. You know what I'm talking about? That's all I am. I'm going to share with you the word of Elohim, and you can do what you want to with it. You know what I'm saying? Because I really don't care. I don't care. I don't care to be down with people. I don't care for it. It doesn't matter to me if you say he's a great preacher, or you can say he's the worst preacher I ever heard. I don't care. I'm going to do what this man put me to do till I expire. And prayerfully, my works will be accepted and I can receive a crown of life at my decease. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down, because that's all that I'm after. I don't need the praise of men. I don't need the accolades of men. I don't need any of that. I need the praise of Elohim because it lasts longer. It lasts longer. And I'm only mentioning this here because that's the mind that all of us need to have. You need to praise of Elohim. It lasts longer. It lasts longer. It lasts forever. What's longer than forever? Nothing. Ain't that right? That's right. Let's come on back to John 8 and 30. And as he spake these words, many believed on him. Then said Yahushua to those Yahudim which believed on him, if you continue in my word, are you my disciples indeed? And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. They answered him, we be Abraham's seed. We were never in bondage to any man. How say you, you shall be made free? Yahushua answered in them, truly, truly, I say unto you, whosoever commits sin is the servant of sin. And the servant abide not in the house forever, but the son abide forever. Remember what it told you over there, what you call it? With Abraham and what's the name? Ishmael and Isaac. What he did with Isaac. Put the bondwoman out. Put her and her seed out. Can't dwell here. The son can dwell here. Sinner can't dwell here. You got to go. Ain't no slaves here. You got to go. You know what I'm talking about? That's why he made that statement. Put the bondwoman and her seed out. She can't dwell with my son. My son is the son of the promise. He free. He got liberty. My son is of the word. You know what I'm talking about? You can't dwell here. You got to go. Well, what you see, and I'm telling this here as forth as an aspect, because remember in Hosea 12 and 10, he said by the similitudes of the ministry of the prophets. That's what he did. So what you're supposed to understand from that similitude is that when you commit sin, you the same as Ishmael. You the same as Ishmael. You the child of the bondwoman. You can't dwell here. That's what that means in Romans 9 when he say all Yasharal is not a Yasharal. The children of the flesh are not counted for the seed, but the children of the promise. Man, if you ain't born of the word, you ain't none of his offspring. Nobody cares if you come from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We moved past that, son. You got to be born of the word. You got to be born of Elohim. Being born of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob ain't enough, baby. Not to get in that kingdom. You got to be born of Elohim. You got to be born of that word, boy. That seed got to go in your lab, boy, and it's got to produce the fruit of the womb. You understand me? Because ain't no life in you till that seed get in there. Same way ain't no life in no woman's womb till you put that seed in there. Boy, ain't no life in your heart, boy, till he put that seed in there. Now that seed got to sit in there for the time of life with patience and bring forth fruit. Same way that seed sit in that woman's womb for 9 months and bring forth that baby, bring forth life. Man, look at man. When you understand the word of Yahuwah, you see the works of him in everything. In everything. Yeah, you should look at a woman giving birth and see the manifestation of the word or her pushing out that baby. Because you got to go through much tribulation to enter into the kingdom of Elohim, and she go through much tribulation to have that baby. But once he said, once that man child is born, all that pain is forgotten. And didn't he say there'll be no more crying, no more death, no more tears? You won't remember none of it. That's how you know this man is real. This is as real as it gets. This ain't no words on no page. This ain't just no historical. This is the living Elohim manifested in your face. And he showed forth his esteem in every bit of his creation. If you know him, seek him, and you will see him. And I promise to you, you'll never leave him. You'll never leave him. If you experience this man and you seek him, you'll never leave him. You leave him for what? I don't know if some of y'all had your daddy or your granddaddy, man, and you loved them that much. You ain't never want to leave their side. Everywhere they went, you wanted to go. How they dressed, you wanted to dress. How they talk, you wanted to talk. You wanted to wear a hat like them. You wanted to be everything like them. It's no different than with the word. You're going to want to go. He said, well, I am, my servant will be also. You're going to go wherever the Lord go, I'm going. Whatever he wearing, I'm wearing. I'm going with my daddy. With my daddy, I want to go with my daddy. That's how it's supposed to be, man. See, we done got far from that because we're not growing up with our father. So you don't even have that type of kinship and bond with another man. You don't even know what that's like to look at another man with that level of esteem. That's the sad state of this society that we live in, that we get stripped of that. So when you come to the word, you can't really encapsulate that because you begin to looking at Yahuwah through the eyes of a woman. Because the only person you ever been around was your mama. So you look at him like she look at men. You done took on her mindset and thought process of it. And I'm not saying that it's impossible for a man who's not raised with a male influence to cleave to Yahuwah, but I am a firm believer that it's much easier for those who had a strong male influence to cleave to him. I am a believer of that. Definitely am. Because you'll understand what it is to love a man who you deem to be greater than you. Because when you were a child, you look at your father as being greater than you. You look at your grandfather as being greater than you. You may look at your uncles as being greater than you. And you cleave to them and you hang on their word and their instruction because you desire the wisdom that they had to give to you, because you look at them with such a high level of reverence and respect. So when you come to looking at Yahuwah, you see the same thing. You cleaving to him. You hanging on his every word. That's why it's important, as far as men are concerned with your sons, to make sure that you love them, teach them, and instruct them. And as we done talked about plenty of time before, that don't mean you got to beat that boy. You can correct him without beating him. If you always got to beat that boy, that means your instruction skills ain't up to par. Chastisement physically is supposed to be the last resort for unacceptable conduct, not your initial reaction because he did something you don't like. That means you got some frustration and things and you need to get together because Yahuwah is slow to wrath. So there's supposed to be a level of patience that you have with. When he say striking with the rod, he ain't always talking about busting him upside his head. He talking about chastising, give him some correction, give him some discipline, show him where he exceeded so that he won't exceed anymore. Give him the mindset to understand why those choices are faulty so that he won't make that decision. One of the biggest problems that we do is you correct the child, but you don't tell the child how that action could be detrimental to them so they can understand why that's not a wise decision to make. But also, you know, niggas like to learn stuff the hard way. Never understood that. Why don't you just learn from the experience of others? Why you got to go through it yourself? You can save yourself some pain. You can save yourself some time. Wise people learn from the experience of others. You know what I'm saying? As Cujo put it on mainstream, man. He say, you know, they say experience is the best teacher. He say, I hope you don't mind me eating off of yours. He say, man, I hope you don't mind me eating off of your plate. Can I eat off the plate of your experience? Because you got the experience that I need, and I don't have to go through that. You got experience in certain things, man, then break bread with them young men and share that information with them, man, so their lives can be easier, man. Only black folks feel like people are supposed to do stuff the hard way. No, you're supposed to make it easy for him. He ain't got to go through it the hard way. That's why the book say everything that was written aforetime was written for our learning, so we won't have to do it the hard way. Man, John 8 and 35, man. And the servant abide not in the house forever, the son abide forever. If the son therefore shall make you free, you shall be free indeed. So when we come back talking about Jubilee and talking about Leviticus, we talking about being free. That's what Jubilee is about. The reconciliation. Notice again that Jubilee coincides, literally begins on atonement. The day of reconciliation coincides with the year of freedom. So remember, we talked about this when we looked at Daniel 9, and he said, what did he come to do? To finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, to bring in everlasting righteousness, to seal up the prophecy, and to anoint the most Kadash. This man came to set us free. Daniel 9 and 25 or 24 is literally telling you that this man came to set you free. He came to set you free from sin. And if you're set free from sin, guess what else you're set free from? Death. Remember, Ecclesiastes tells us that there's no winning in that battle and that discharge. Death is the only thing that man can't beat. So guess who came and beat it? Your God. So why wouldn't you go ahead and latch hold on to that? He beat the one thing you can't beat. So why are you still playing with sin? Why are you still playing with that? Don't play with it. I know some of y'all mamas that maybe came in the room and told you, stop playing with yourself. Well, that's what you're doing when you're playing with your sin. You're playing with yourself. It feels good for the moment, but then shame come in when you get caught. Y'all remember that old Chris Rock skit when he was talking about you when you're looking all around when you're trying to pleasure yourself when there's somebody in the house? That's the same thing Adam was doing, looking around when they heard Yahuwah coming in the garden, looking around because you're shamed. Because you're shamed. You don't want nobody to catch you with your wee-wee in your hand. But when you playing with sin, he going to come around here and he going to catch you with your wee-wee in your hand. Now you're going to be looking crazy. I wasn't doing nothing. You don't want to hear that. I seen you, nasty little boy. Messing up my sheets and messing up your socks. What's wrong with you? But it felt good, Daddy. Well, feeling good, you're going to go to hell. Was it worth it? That's the same way when you look at people when they do stuff to go to prison. Was what you did to go to prison, was it worth it? Because I'm going to tell you, that dope I sold, it wasn't worth them 4.5 years. I'm telling you that right now. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. Not damn bill that got paid. Not nothing that I was able to none of it was worth sitting behind a razor wire fence with a bunch of dudes for 24 hours a day. It wasn't worth it. It wasn't. You know what I'm saying? The risk-benefit analysis was skewed. Wasn't worth it. You know what I'm talking about? It really wasn't. Sin's not worth it. Just leave it alone. He told you in Proverbs 28 and 13, he that confesses his sins, he said, he that covers his sins, shall not prosper. But he that confess and forsake will have mercy. See, we'll do the confessing, but we don't do the forsaking. That's why we don't get no mercy. Just leave it alone. Just get rid of it. Why fool with it? What's the benefit? What's the benefit? What did Paul say in Romans, man? He said, what fruit did you have in those things that you are now ashamed? What was the profit that you got from that? Temporary pleasure. That's what we've been trained to go after, temporary pleasure. That's not the mind of a man. That's the mind of a child. That's the mind of a woman. That's not the mind of a man. And then you wonder, these women don't listen. Well, I wouldn't listen to you either. But then he go to other thing. You trying to make people listen to you who don't want to listen. Yahuwah don't do that. He just leave them alone. Oh, you don't want to listen? Okay, that's your loss. Because we're in a constant state of begging. You begging to be validated instead of just being validated by Elohim. He said, how can you believe which is that seek honor one from another and not the honor that come from Elohim only? Remember what he said in John? He said they sought the praise of men more than the praise of Elohim. That's our problem. Yahuwah is not enough for us. You want other stuff. He's not enough. That's the same way when dudes complain about, oh, my woman want this. It's never enough. You that woman. Yahuwah's not enough for you. You want more and more. You're insatiable. Why? Think about your life, man. Because we're pretty much done, man. I ain't going to go through it no more because we ain't going to have time. But I just want to end this with his here, man. Hallelujah for Yahushua. All praises esteemed to Abba and Shamaim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Let that be known. But just sit back again. I done said it several times this evening. Look on your life. If there was experiences that you had that you believe you were going to die and you believe that Yahuwah got you out of that situation, even if you didn't know it was Yahuwah in the moment, but you look back on your life and you realize that was him. And now you alive to hear his word that you might live forever. Why are you still fooling with stuff that can take you out? Look on your life, man. Look at everything you did that was contrary to the will of Elohim, whether you knew it was contrary to the will of Elohim or not. What benefit did you get from it? How did you prosper? How did that make your life better? And if you see that it don't or it didn't, why are you going to still want to fool with it? And then wonder why people don't respect what you're talking about because they know that you still sinning. But you trying to tell me about God, I don't want to hear that. I done told you this before, man. I was with a brew. This brew been in the world about 30 years, teaching about 20, however long he been teaching, man. He was trying to get this Christian lady on that Acts 10 about how you can't eat no pork. I done told some of y'all this before, so y'all know what I'm finna tell you. And my homeboy was in there with me. And he looked that woman in the face and he said, you know, I'm not perfect. And that Christian woman looked him in the face and said, so you don't keep the law then. This was her response to him. My homeboy went to dying laughing. And he one of them dudes, man, that when he get one of them uncontrollable laughs, you're going to start laughing with him. But for me, it was sad because you coming at this woman talking about how Christianity don't keep the law, you got to keep the law. This don't mean this. And in the same breath, you say you ain't perfect. And then she say, so basically, you don't do what you telling me to do. And you wonder why they not respecting what you talking about. Why should she? Why should I respect you telling me to do something that you not doing? Why should I fear and reverence somebody who you don't fear and reverence? Why should I love somebody who you don't love? But yet you trying to castigate and condemn me and you live just like me. The only difference is you say to do it and I say not to do it, but we both not doing it. How are we different? Nigga, we the same. You think it's better because you say to do it, but you not doing it. So really that make you worse. Because what you say to do, you don't even do. Amen, bro. Amen, man. Praise the Lord. Like we got to think about that. As men, I'm not talking to the women. I'm talking to the men. As men, how are you going to win souls to Yahuwah when the very thing you telling people to do, you not doing? Why should they respect what you talking about? Because you feel like you giving them some information they don't know? Man, get off the internet, right? And go outside and talk to people who really experience in life. And I will tell you that they don't give a good goddamn about none of these conversations that we having online. I promise you they don't care. They don't want to hear none of that crap. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. They don't give a damn about no 12 tribe chart. They don't care about nobody who came over here on no slave ship. They don't care about no Trinitarianism, no one. They don't care about none of that. I'm talking about they care about, boy, my heart is broken. I ain't got no hope. I'm mired in despair and depression. My soul is crying out for God, and it seems like I can't get near him. Can you help me? I'm broken, and I don't want to be this way no more. And we go to these people out here in the street with internet conversations, man. I told y'all a while back, man, I told my little homie, man, I say niggas been arguing on the internet so long that they don't even know how to talk to regular people no more. You don't even know how to talk to a regular person with the word. That man told you in Isaiah 50, he'll give you a word in due season that you might heal the heart of the broken. We don't even know how to do that because you don't give a damn because all you want to do is win a conversation. But the book say he that wins souls is wise. So clearly we not wise because we ain't winning no souls, man. We can't say we wise and then we not winning souls, bro. Because the book say the fruit of the righteous is a tree of life and he that wins souls is wise. How many souls have we acquired for Yahuwah's name's sake that the angels in heaven might rejoice because the sinner done repented? How many times have we done that so esteem can come back to this man's name? We care about winning arguments. We care about proving people doctrines wrong. Meanwhile, the lost souls out there suffering, crying out for God, and don't nobody give a damn about him. That's why he told you that it's come from Kings, and then it's quoted again in Matthew when he said he sat back and looked at the sheep as they was lost with no shepherd because nobody cares about them. Do we care about being right, or do we care about these people who we say we love because they look like us? And since we don't have the love of Elohim, we can't show the love of Elohim to these people to where they want to get down with what we got going on, because we think we're supposed to win them with information. But he told you in Jeremiah that he would draw you with loving kindness. That's what he told you he would draw you with. He told you in Hosea, I'll speak to your heart to draw you with loving kindness. We supposed to be showing these people, man, this man loved us, boy. Now, Drake can tell you last week when we were having that conversation about Adam, all these boys wanted to argue. I'm trying to give esteem to Yahuwah. Do you not see this man showed us how he loved us in the beginning? You can't see the love, man. You can't see that. Boy, the first time I seen that in the text, man, when it pertained to that, I said, boy, this man here is good. You understand me? Because that's love right there, man. How many of you brothers would die for your child? How many of you brothers would say, yeah, I love my wife enough, boy, that if I had to step in front of a bullet for her, I'd do it? Well, guess what? The first Adam and the second Adam stepped in front of a bullet for somebody who didn't deserve it. Didn't deserve it. They gave their life up and they ain't do nothing wrong. They made a conscious decision. Man, do you understand, to die for somebody, you have to decide to do that? You know why a lot of dudes don't realize that, man? They call that nigga a simp. Because they wouldn't even understand what it is to love somebody with a pure heart. That you'll sacrifice your life for them. To no benefit of yourself, but to benefit them. Man don't got that type of love, but Yahuwah do. But Yahuwah do. And knowing that he done showed us this type of love, you can't get that love back by simply not sinning. Come on, this man ain't even asking for much. He just asking you not to sin. You ain't got to die. You ain't got to suffer like he suffered. You ain't got to suffocate on no tree. You ain't got to have your beard plucked out. You ain't got to be slapped while you're blindfolded. You ain't got to be whooped with no cat nine tails. You ain't got to go through none of that. All you got to do is suffer in the flesh to cease from sin. He already suffered in the flesh literally to put sin away. You mean to tell me you can't stop touching yourself? You can't stop telling lies? You can't stop being malicious? You can't stop keeping idols in your heart that you putting before him? He ain't even asking for much. Can't even do that. You mean to tell me for the Sabbath day, man, I don't care if you started in the daytime or started at night. You mean to tell me you can't sit back and not watch TV for that day, man? And when I say that, meaning watching TV for your own pleasure. You mean to tell me you can't stop your own pleasure for? You got dudes who be arguing about you can have sex on the Sabbath. Why would you be thinking about laying with your woman on one? You can't keep your penis in your pants for one day, brother. 24 hours. You got 6 days to jump up and down on your wife, bro. You want to be unclean when you go before Yahuwah? You remember when he told them before they came up on the mount, he said, don't touch your wives for 3 days. So you want to come to Yahuwah with the uncleanliness of spilled semen on you. You can't control yourself for 1 day, bro. This man gave you 6 days to have all the sex you want with your wife, and 1 day gonna kill you, bro. How you even get up on the Sabbath and think, man, you know what'll do me good today? Some vagina. That's what's on your mind. On the day that this man set apart for, you ain't got to be concerned with nothing other than learning and understanding him. Vagina on your mind. Do you understand you got a mental problem? You understand you got a mental problem? You not understand you driven by pleasure? But you think because you know something, that'll clean that up. Man, that man don't give a damn about how much you know. He want to see how much you going to show. He don't care about all that. The scribes and Pharisees knew a lot too. And their leaven of their doctrine was hypocrisy. The priests in the ancient times knew a lot too. And they prophesied for hire and judged for money. And strengthened the hand of evildoers. You know what I'm talking about? So that don't mean nothing, man. We look at all this stuff, man. You get caught up with all this stuff, man, and the people are dying, bro. The people are dying. And if the word of Elohim is in you and you say you love God and this, that, there, and the third, then why don't that do something to your soul? Because it did something to you. Who was he said, I got to do something about that. Let me go ahead and push this flesh suit on, man, so I can go behind there and show them love in the flesh and lay my life down for them that they might turn and repent. That don't bother you, man? We'll talk about all day long. These men out here killing each other. What can we do to stop? Because you think you can win and whistle. Look at, man, a wicked nigga gonna be a wicked nigga. Offering jobs ain't gonna make a wicked nigga stop being a wicked nigga. That's not gonna convert his heart. Offering programs ain't gonna convert a wicked heart. All the stuff we think gonna turn people to Yahuwah is not. The only thing that's gonna turn people to Yahuwah is his word. Is his word. That's it. Ain't no songs, ain't no dancing, ain't no community programs, ain't no health drive, ain't nothing gonna turn the hearts of men but the word of Yahuwah. That's it. That's it. Now, if you can do them other things along with that, that's great. But the only thing that's going to turn the hearts of men is the word of Yahuwah, and we don't want that. That's why I told you we like gimmicks. Because most of the people who teaching us ain't got no word. So they don't have anything to draw us. So they have to draw us with the gimmicks. But then we're barren and unfruitful. Which causes all of Yahuwah's enemies to blaspheme his name. Because of how we live in. And it has to come a point, gentlemen, that we have to look up and say, you know what? If Yahuwah's name get blasphemed, it won't be because of me. It won't be because of me. And if they speak evil, let me not even misquote Peter here. Let me not even misquote the Apostle Peter right here. But as Peter put it right here, man, and where is that, man? What, 1 Peter chapter 4? Yeah. It's 1 Peter chapter 4, man. You know what I'm saying? He say, beloved, this is verse 12, by the way. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. But rejoice inasmuch as you are partakers of a Mashiach suffering, that when his esteem shall be revealed, you may be glad with exceeding joy. If you be dishonored for the name of a Mashiach, blessed are you. For the ruach of esteem and of Elohim rest upon you. On their part, he is evil spoken of, but on your part, he is esteemed. So, amen, live for Elohim and let them people run their mouth, and he'll be esteemed on your part, and they're going to go to hell for running their mouth. Because they didn't realize they wasn't speaking against you. They were speaking against Yahushua. They're going to hell. He told you that in Jude. He said, I'm going to come see all these ungodly sinners for all their ungodly deeds and all the ungodly hard speeches that they done spoke against me. Like he said when he was talking about Esau in Ezekiel 35, all them blasphemies, he said, nigga, I heard you. Yeah, pussy nigga, I heard you. I heard you running your mouth. I heard you talking greasy, boy. I'm going to see you when it's time for me to see you. And when I see you, I'm going to pay you back to your face. That's what he said in Deuteronomy. Those that despise me, I'm going to pay you back to your face. I'm going to look you dead in your eyes and kill you. And you're going to know that I'm Yahuwah. That's what he told you. Yeah, man. So let them people run their mouth. See, our bigger problem is you don't want this. Remember when Yahushua say, hey, man, blessed are you and rejoice when people separate themselves from your company and cast your name as evil. He said, your name written in heaven. You want to fight. No, man, let the people run their mouth, man, and you know you standing for righteousness, man. Your name written in heaven. Boy, you trying to get rid of the blessing to defend yourself? When you can read in Psalms, he said, I kept my mouth closed because you did it. Man, God himself, these people disrespecting this man to his face, he ain't say a word because he had the mind that Jacob had. I ain't got to say nothing to you. My righteousness is going to speak for me. I ain't got to defend myself. My righteousness is going to speak for me. Nigga, I'm better than you. You don't know who my God is. You don't know who I dwell in and who dwell in me. What I look like? What I look like? Not doing that. Remember that. That's what it told you in Genesis, man, with Jacob and Laban. Man, Jacob said, man, my righteousness is going to speak for me. I ain't got to do nothing. Didn't this man tell you, hey, man, blessed are those who die in the Lord, saith the Ruach? For their deeds do follow. You think this man don't know who disrespecting his offspring? You think he ain't coming to see him? What type of father you think you got? You think he gonna let people slide with disrespecting his seeds? No, he coming to see him. You ain't got to do nothing, baby, but be easy. They foot gonna slide in due time. That's what he told you. See, we see all this here, but we don't believe it. You ain't got to worry about these people, man. That man say, man, I will avenge them speedily, but nevertheless, will the son of Adam find faith when he come upon the earth? You ain't got to worry about these people, boy. These people going to hell. You understand me? And then they're going to wake up and go to the valley of Tophet. You dig? You ain't got to worry about that. You ain't got to worry about that. Just worry about making sure your soul right. You ain't got to worry about these people, man. They're going to get theirs. Believe that. He said he going to leave him his mire in the street. You ain't got to worry about that. You ain't got to worry about that. You ain't got to worry about these people, man. Every governmental system under this heaven, boy, they going down. They going to hell, and then they going to the valley of Tophet. When I say going to hell, I'm talking about Sheol, the grave. They going to the grave, and then they going to the valley of Tophet, where the worm dies not, and the fire shall not be quenched. They going. But you got to make sure that you ain't going with them. Don't spend all your time railing about how these people are wicked, and these governments are wicked, and these celebrities selling their soul to the devil, and then you committing sin, so you are the devil. Or you or your father's the devil, because the lust of your father you will do. Don't get yourself caught out there like that. Don't worry about them people. They got theirs coming. Just make sure you got yours coming. I'm talking about that crown of life. I'm talking about that fine linen, clean and right, which is the righteousness of the saints. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about dwelling in that city of unwalled villages. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, chilling with your maker. I'm talking about chilling with your maker with peace, no worries, no concerns, no cares. Just peace, joy, and everlasting life. And best believe it's going to happen, because he said it's going to happen. Bump what another nigga talking about. I don't give a damn what an Egyptologist talking about. I don't give a damn what an atheist talking about. I don't care what none of these people talking about. Elohim is not a man that he should lie, nor the son of a man that he should repent. If he said it, he going to do it. You can cash that check, man. That's going down. Remember, he told you that in Chronicles, and Paul told you the same. Your work is not vain in the Lord. Keep on pushing. There's a reward coming. Just hold fast. He going to pay you. One thing he ain't never been said. One thing who ain't never been is slack in paying what he owe. If he owe you everlasting life, he going to shoot it to you. And you going to get it. In due time, you're going to have plenty of riches cut running over. Don't worry about these people, man. Maintain to your Elohim. Speak against unrighteousness and ungodliness, man. Stand for peace, joy, faith, love, and salvation, and let everything else fall into place, man. Stop worrying about these people, man. And stop rolling with wicked niggas, man. Stop rolling with people who don't know what they talking about. Stop rolling with people who ain't got no love, no care, no grace, no mercy, no compassion, no long suffering, none of that. Stop fooling with them people, man. It's going to corrupt you. You're not going to be who you desire to become. This thing bigger than changing your name. This thing bigger than putting on ancient Eastern garments. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than proclaiming I'm an Israelite. It's bigger than that. I don't want to be an Israelite. I want to be a son of Elohim. Because when you get in this man kingdom, yeah, all the gates will be named after Israelites, but in reality, everybody in that kingdom is going to be sons and daughters of Elohim, because they would be birthed of his seed and his family. That's why Peter said you got to be born of incorruptible seed, not corruptible seed. Because if we born a corruptible seed, we another man's child, and Yahuwah not taking care of another man's child. He only taking care of his children. So if you born of the seed, you born of the word, he going to give you your inheritance because you belong to him. That's not to what's the word I'm looking for? That's not to diminish the fact that we are the children of the prophets, the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. It's not to diminish that, but that's not the end goal. Because being born of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was by chance, if you would. Being born of Elohim is a conscious decision. You know what I'm talking about? That means that was something you didn't choose to be an Israelite. That was chosen for you. But you choose to be a son of Elohim. You choose that. That's why you say, what love, great love the Father has bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of Elohim. That's greater. That's greater. What's greater than being the son of Elohim? An Israelite is greater than that? That's natural flesh, man. We have to get to the point where you take so much pride in that, and versus that this man is giving you the opportunity to take part in his family. He extended you an offer. Come be part of my household, man. You know what I'm saying? Come be a part of my household. Come around here, man. I got something for you. I got an inheritance laid up in heaven for you. It's just for you, baby. I made it for you. I want you to have it. But you got to be born of me to get it. What you gonna do? But nevertheless, man, I appreciate y'all. And I love y'all. And I bless y'all at the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua, man. Yahuwah willing, man, we'll be back at it tomorrow. You know what I'm talking about? What is it, about 2:15, 2:30, something like that, whatever the case may be. Preferably, we can get the trap house open at 2:15 on time. You know what I'm saying? I know that weather gonna be ugly tomorrow, so y'all make sure y'all take proper precautions, man. You know what I'm saying? I ain't even being funny or nothing like that, man. Of course, y'all knows how the weather gonna be, but as of right now, these white folks saying it's gonna be pretty ugly. You know what I'm talking about? So just make sure that you prepared in the case thereof. You know what I'm saying? Because they talking about severe storms, all this other type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And y'all know how this junk go around here. You know it don't take much to certain areas to flood. We just what 2 weeks ago? It was tornadoes around this hole. You know what I'm saying? So just make sure you take the proper precautions. You know what I'm saying? Just be cognizant and aware. At the end of the day, ain't nothing gonna happen that you don't allow. And that's just what that is. But just weigh and consider, man. I just want you to receive the very thing that I desire to receive, and that's everlasting life. And you got to ask yourself, if the people around you don't want everlasting life, then they certainly ain't going to want it for you. So that means that they're not going to push, challenge, and walk with you in that pathway. And you might have to just accept that. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't want to be saved. See, when some people hear, what you saved from? He said, endure to the end. Shut your mouth. Because when you're not committing sin, you're saved from death, boy. So that means if you died this very moment, you would be delivered from death because the word would be in you and it would quicken you and make you alive at the last day. It's not that hard. I know because you was in the Christian church, you feel like that's a Christian terminology. I don't give a damn about the Christian church. I don't care what them people teaching. I don't care. I don't even take time to examine or research what they teaching. I don't care. I generally don't care. So I don't take the time to examine what other Hebrews are teaching. That's none of my concern. I need to preach what he put in my mind to preach. I'm not worried about what another man doing. If they doing the work of Yahuwah, praise be to Yahuwah. If they preaching a Mashiach out of strife and contention, Mashiach still being esteemed. So praise to be to Yahuwah. That's none of my concern. That's none of my concern. Because worrying about proving somebody doctrine wrong don't benefit the people. See, let me tell y'all something for some of you brews on here who don't know. Most of the people who physically here in the congregation in the city, they don't know nothing about no Hebrew congregations. They don't know nothing about Hebrew conversations. They don't know about none of that. The only reason why they're dealing with this here because they heard the voice of the shepherd and went after the lamb. So me having them type of conversations with them would be irrelevant because they wouldn't even know what I was talking about. And they genuinely don't even care. Because they looking for what understanding can I get so I can draw closer to Elohim that my faith and hope might be in him. They don't care about that stuff. You know what I'm saying? They don't care. I can't even participate in that stuff too long because it drains my soul. It vexes my soul. It drains my soul. I just be like, I'm good. I'm good. I hadn't been involved in conversations with dudes for a while till like the last year and some change on Clubhouse. And then after a while, I was like, I can't do it. It reminded me of why I stopped talking to these people. Because it vexes my soul. I can't do it. He said, we've been having earthquakes on the regular in Jamaica. Well, shoot, Yahuwah willing, man, he keep you protected. Brother Francis, Yahuwah willing, man, he watch over you, make sure everything good on your side. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man, these brothers and sisters, they don't care about that. They don't know about that type of stuff. They're not familiar with it. If most of the stuff that most of our people be arguing about online, man, if any of you brothers and sisters who be or are privy to that type of information, if you was to be here in Jacksonville, Florida with us, man, and you mentioned some of this stuff, everybody in here be looking like, I don't know what you talking about, bro. I ain't even saying that to be funny, like they don't know. They have no idea. They don't know. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we don't do it. Because it's souls that are being watched over. And the state of their souls is more important. Now, I will say this here, just like I said, the inspiration that came from us looking at how Adam was a similitude of Yahushua being the firstborn from the dead. Sometimes I do participate in listening to certain conversations because if Yahuwah permit, I get inspiration on certain things. And then we just come around here and deal with it. Matter of fact, there was one time, man, when Josh was talking about that Matthew 5:17, and I got some inspiration on it, on something completely different than what he was talking about. You know what I'm saying? And we dealt for that for like 60 days. You know what I'm saying? As far as the multitude of things that came out of till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle won't pass from the law. It was a multitude of things, but it was just that discussion about that. By the grace of Elohim, it was a level of inspiration, like boom, 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 and we gonna deal with that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's why I do that sometimes, man, because I draw inspiration from stuff. Some stuff I draw inspiration from things I experience or things that I see. It definitely was a time period where, about 2013, but none of this stuff was recorded or nothing like that. This was just at the house. Now, there was a lot of word that we went through, me, Muffin, and Nail, just off of me listening to that Lauryn Hill Unplugged album. It was just certain inspiration word-wise that were coming, and then we would sit down and splice and dice through that. You know what I'm saying? It was definitely one that came from a dream Nail had. Now, that is on tape. But that's on Jesus for True Freedom, though. That's not on this channel. That's on the other channel. You know what I'm talking about? You never know where the inspiration will come from as far as Yahuwah is concerned. You know what I'm talking about? And I just take that, what come to mind, then we, cook it up in the trap house, put it on the block, and let the people do with it what they will. You know what I'm talking about? But, just stay firm, man. Stay rooted in the faith, man. Don't let nobody move you or shake you. You know what I'm saying? Just make sure your soul preserved, man. Like I tell you, I ain't told y'all this in a while, but y'all remember what Jeremiah 33:10 say. When he said, I hear the voice of joy, the voice of gladness, the voice of hallelujah, Yahuwah of hosts, for his mercy is good and endures forever. You know what I'm saying? Jeremiah heard voices of people standing in the kingdom of Elohim singing praises to his name. For every individual who's still in this clubhouse room, in this house, and on this YouTube stream, I pray to Yahuwah in his infinite and eternal mercies that the voices that Jeremiah heard was the voices of every single solitary person that can hear the sound of my voice at this moment. You know what I'm saying? Like straight up, you really got to look at that verse and be like, that was me he heard. He heard me singing that. You know what I'm saying? He heard me singing that because he heard voices. Those are real people voices he heard. And I hope to Yahuwah that is every single individual that's here right now, that's the voice he heard. You singing because you were there. In Yahuwah's presence, giving esteem to his name for his everlasting salvation. What's better than that? But y'all willing, man, till tomorrow, man. I need to go to sleep. I'm tired. And I'm old. And my body hurt. Y'all willing, man, till tomorrow. Clubhouse, man, if y'all ain't got nothing for me, man,